Chapter 1. Awakening. Naruto Uzumaki was scared as much as ramen is scared of being eaten by him. He held the sacred scroll of sealing tightly to his body as the world began to crash around him like it was a planet made of fine china. He breathed in and out fiercely as he could only acknowledge what he was. The Kyuubi no Kitsune, the nine-tailed fox that wreaked havoc on the village of Konohagakure 12 years ago on October 10th. The boy heard two shinobi coming, and he peeked to see someone hinged as himself, as the other person was Mizuki. "How did you know I wasn't Irika?" Mizuki asked the hinge that chuckled back before revealing its true appearance. "Because I'm Irika," the revealed Irika said. Mizuki glared at Irika with a small smirk on his face. "I see. So, you just transformed into the very thing that killed your parents." Mizuki chuckled at the injured Irika. "I won't hand over the scroll to someone like you," Irika yelled at the traitorous shinobi, who merely grinned at Irika. "You idiot. Naruto and I are of the same accord," Mizuki said, getting Irika's attention. "With that scroll, he'll be able to have unimaginable power. That's exactly what the Kyuubi wants." "Yeah, but not what Naruto wants. He's not the fox, he's Naruto Uzumaki, a member of Konohagakure." When Irika said this, Naruto's eyes leaked out tears of happiness that he was acknowledged by someone. Mizuki sneered at Irika. "Whatever, I'll just deal with you now." Mizuki charged at Irika, who was thinking that he was about to die. "So this is it, huh?" What surprised everybody there was when Uzumaki Naruto charged and rushed into Mizuki, knocking the man over into the ground and looking at him with determined, fierce eyes. "Don't you dare touch Irika-sensei, Mizuki team. I'll kill you," Naruto fiercely said. "Let's see you try that, nine-tailed fox," Mizuki yelled as Naruto made a hand sign. Kagebunshin no Jutsu. Naruto had more than 1,000 clones surrounding Mizuki, shocking both the traitor and Irika. Mizuki surprisingly didn't lose his cool as he threw the giant shuriken he had left and caused a lot of the clones to disappear. Mizuki smirked when Naruto looked a little frightened. "Come on, demon. You said you would kill me. So just do it, fox." Naruto got a hold of himself and his clones charged as Mizuki kept a smirk on his face and made clone after clone after clone disappear into clouds of dust. Mizuki finally got to the real one as he pulled out a kunai knife. "It's over, Kyuubi," yelled a triumphed Mizuki as he charged when all of a sudden, Naruto made a hand sign, unknowingly forming a new jutsu. Naruto closed his eyes in sheer fright only for him to hear Mizuki's screams and liquid splatter all over his body. He opened his eyes to see nothing but the blood of the now dead traitor Mizuki and a very shocked Irika as he passed out. Chapter 2. Kekai Genkai of the Namikaze clan. Naruto felt as if he was floating in the air like a bird in flight. He moved his hand and the wind coiled around it fiercely as he lightly felt its pulse, its life move around him. He released his imaginative grip on the air, causing it to fly out like 1,000 scythes, slashing anything in his way. This caused Naruto to go wide-eyed, look at his hand and grin. "Damn, I didn't think I was this badass." Once he looked ahead, he found all he could dream of, an endless buffet of ramen, his lifelong crush, Sakura Haruno, and a bunch of ninja like Sasuke, the third Hokage, and even his idol and hero, the fourth Hokage, bowing and saying, "We are not worthy," repeatedly to the young Uzumaki. He grinned even more as he rushed to the stand where Sakura blushed and gave Naruto a kiss on his cheek, causing Naruto to blush and scratch the back of his head, which made Sakura giggle. Right in front of Naruto's buffet was the item that made Naruto cry a pool of happiness, the Hokage hat. His hands trembled forth to grab the hat, finally grabbing it after looking at it for 5 minutes. He put it on top of his head of blonde mountains and turned to see all of the village cheering and yelling, "Hail, Naruto, the 5th Hokage! Huzzah, huzzah!" Naruto just stood there, crying streams of joy. "Man, this feels like a..." Naruto stopped as everything turned into black before opening to the familiar ceiling of Konoha Hospital. Dream. Damn it, why couldn't lasted longer, like, for all eternity. Naruto arose to the surprised face of Irika and smiling face of the third Hokage. What freaked him out was he felt something on his skin like an invisible armor, a hidden layer of skin. He made a hand sign, thinking it was something someone put on him, and generated chakra only for that layer to force itself out and strike the wall he was looking at like what he saw in his dream. Irika and the third Hokage looked at Naruto, who gaped at what he had done to one of the hospital rooms that was luckily unoccupied, and scratched the back of his head when he looked at the two, only for them to produce a sweat drop in response. Naruto, then, saw the third Hokage merely chuckle as he made a hand sign and repaired the wall Naruto had destroyed. "That was amazing, Ojaizen," Naruto said to the man he considered his grandpa, who chuckled in response. "Yes, it was, Naruto-kun," the third Hokage said lightly before becoming serious. "I heard everything about yesterday from your sensei, Irika." This caused Naruto to lose his carefree smile and lower his head. "I see." The third Hokage went up to Naruto, sat in a chair, and put a comforting hand on his back. "I know that you must feel like I betrayed you when I didn't tell you about the Kyuubi. I'm sore dash." "It's okay, Aji-san," Naruto said with a sad smile. "I can understand why you made that a secret to keep from me. But could you please tell me about why I have this power?" The third Hokage took a puff of his pipe, blew the smoke into the open air, and sighed. "This is going to take a while to explain, and you may either grow excited and repeatedly thank me or hate me for the rest of your life." Naruto shook his head rapidly, which made both the Sarutobi and Irika to chuckle at the boy. "There is no way I would get angry at you, Aji-san." "All right," the Hokage said as he made a hand sign to soundproof the room from the outside. "Are you all right with your sensei staying here and hearing what I have to say?" "He's like you, Aji-san," Naruto smiled happily. "He's part of my family." This made Irika gasp, smile, and cry happily at the words said from the container of the Kyuubi. "Thank you, Naruto." "No prob, Irika-sensei," Naruto cheerfully replied. Now that all of that is taken care of, the Hokage butted in. "We can get to the business of why you have this ability, Naruto." Naruto looked intently while Irika began to wipe his eyes and turned serious fast at the wise leader's words. Long ago, a clan known as the Namikaze lived in this village. It was a very small clan of shinobi that held an inherited trait, a Kekkei Genkai. "Kekkei Genkai?" Naruto asked as the leader of the village merely nodded. Yes, that trait was the ability to wield wind nature affinity perfectly, to control it like you're the wind itself. That ability was given to you by your father, Namikaze Minato. This caused Irika to gasp and force himself against the wall. "You mean?" Irika forced out as the Hokage merely nodded back to the Chunin. Naruto tilted his head in confusion. "Who's this Namikaze Minato guy?" He then got excited. "Was he a badass shinobi like you, Aji-san?" This made the third chuckle and ruffle Naruto's head of blonde hair. "He was even more powerful than me in most ways. He's actually a hero and well known throughout the ninja world. After all, my student, Jiraiya the Toad Sannin, was his teacher." Naruto's mouth went wide open. "Who is he? Who is he? Who is he?" He jumped up and down excitedly on the bed before the Hokage stopped him and started to talk. "Minato Namikaze, the yellow flash of Konoha, was your father and the fourth Hokage of Konohagakure, the one who sealed the nine-tailed fox into you to save the village." Naruto stood still, frozen as ice, until tears of sadness and happiness mixed together, and he ran toward the door, opening it. "Naruto!" Irika yelled at his student as the third Hokage sighed, smoking his pipe. "Let him be, Irika," the third Hokage said, sorrowfully. "He's just trying to cope with the idea of the fourth being his father." "But what if he tells someone accidentally that he's the son of the fourth?" Irika yelled at the older man. "I'm pretty sure that Naruto, at least, knows better than to tell this to anybody that isn't trustworthy." The elderly Hokage spoke as he looked out the window. "I just hope he figures out how to cope with all this. I know eventually, no, pretty soon, Naruto will be back to his old self again." Triple X. Naruto Uzumaki was running from reality. He couldn't believe that his hero was the one who put this fate upon him. That it was his very hero, his very father, that had cursed him to this miserable life in the village hidden in the leaves. That the fourth was the one that caused all the villagers to worship him and condemn his son, not caring about what happened to the vessel that held the Kyuubi at bay. The wind became an unstable hurricane around Naruto, causing everybody to run and call the ANBU that the Kyuubi was coming. The Kyuubi was coming. The wind calmed down once Naruto sat on a bench near the park. Tears kept falling as he sniffled and wiped his eyes, trying to cope with the information he had just learned about himself. Why did my own father give me this life? Naruto thought bitterly as someone started to see him and approached him. Yo, said the shinobi as Naruto wiped his eyes and looked at who was there. The shinobi had silverfish, white hair that tilted and a headband covered his left eye. A thin layer of fabric covered his chin and mouth, though you could see by his eye turned in a U shape that he was smiling at the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails. You're Uzumaki Naruto, correct? How do you know my name? Naruto croaked out. I am Hitaki Kakashi, but you can call me Kakashi-sensei, the man told Naruto, confusing him. Sensei? Sorry, but Irika is my sensei. Naruto replied to the shinobi. So, they haven't told you yet, Kakashi said as he looked at the boy and noticed how he was able to use his sensei's Kekai Genkai. So, he's Minato's son, like I thought, after all. I can't wait to tell him all I can about my times with him. Maybe we'll grow close like I did with his father. Since you were able to use the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, or Shadow Clone Jutsu, Irika allowed you to pass, and I was chosen as your Jonin sensei for you, Uchiha Sasuke and Haruno Sakura. Naruto didn't react as he was still thinking about his father. So, you found out about Minato-sensei? Kakashi said more than asked. Minato-sensei? Asked Naruto as Kakashi nodded. Your father was my sensei, Kakashi said as Naruto nodded sadly. I understand that you hated your father for what he did to you, but I believed he believed in you to learn to master the Kyuubi, tame its powers. I know Sensei well enough to know he doesn't do stuff without reason. He is my hero. He saved the village, and he was my favorite Hokage, Naruto said. No, Kakashi said, which shocked Naruto. Both you and the fourth saved Konohagakure from the Kyuubi. Without you, the fourth wouldn't have been able to seal the Kyuubi. You were just as much as a hero as he was that day. Naruto had tears of happiness in his eyes as he hugged his new sensei. Thank you, Kaka-sensei. Kakashi rubbed Naruto's head affectionately. No prob, Naruto. You might want to go back to the Hokage to listen to everything. Naruto nodded his head. All right. He rushed to the hospital he came from and waved goodbye, ready to learn everything about his family. XXX. So, you came back, Naruto-kun, the third asked when he heard the door open and Naruto said, yes. Do you want to know about your mother, Uzumaki Kushina, as well? Naruto's eyes bulged and excitedly said, yeah, believe it. The Hokage chuckled at the boy. Your mother came from the village of Yuzushogakure, a village that was an ally to Konohagakure, as the Senju and the Uzumaki were distant relatives. Uzumakis were also known for their incredible sealing abilities and their longevity, their long lives. She was very cheerful and bright and thought ramen was a gift from Kami, so personality-wise she was just like you. You also have the same face. Can I have a picture of her? Naruto asked, to which the Sarutobi handed the boy a picture of a very beautiful woman with violet eyes and long red hair, which made Naruto blush. Beautiful, Naruto whispered in stunned silence as he asked if he could keep the picture, to which the third nodded. Irika left his headband and told me that you'll be able to take your picture up at the tower since you are a genin. Yeah, I met Kaka-sensei on the way here, Naruto said cheerfully. You will report to the academy to see him tomorrow like the other students, because they don't even know their T's yet. Naruto nodded at the Hokage's words as he followed him, putting the headband up safely and smiling, looking forward to his adventures up ahead on his road to becoming the Kaze no Erasure. Chapter 3. Team 7. Naruto Uzumaki was putting his iconic orange jacket onto the clothes to be washed as he just wore his black shirt with the Uzumaki clan symbol in the center. He adjusted his Konoha headband on his forehead, grinning at his reflection like he was seeing a long-lost friend. This is the start of my ninja career, I've got to show everyone what Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto is capable of. Naruto grinned as he rushed to the academy. All of a sudden, Naruto was literally walking on air as he was gliding on the wind's surface unknowingly. He merely kept going, feeling the wind's gentle hands on his face. The people below him gaped at him like little fishes as they saw the Jinchuriki walk on the wind. Naruto suddenly dropped and landed on the ground with his feet. He smiled at this feeling, the power of the crimson life that flowed in his veins. He ran on the ground, dodging the people ahead with swift delicateness. His hair was blowing back and his eyes twinkled with pure happiness when he saw the Ninja Academy. I'm finally a ninja. Believe it. He clenched his fists in excitement as he smiled and ran into the academy. Everyone looked back at who was entering the room, merely turning away when they saw Naruto, except a just-turned Genin that got angry when he saw the blonde. Why is that dumbass here? He failed the test. Naruto, the black-haired nobody said as he approached the main character in anger, a thing no one should do. Why are you here? You failed. This made Naruto angry. Well, do you see my headband? Naruto pointed to the Konoha band on his forehead. That means I am a genin of the Leaf Village. The boy merely laughed at Naruto. I bet you just stole that headband. There's no way the dead last would be able to pass. You couldn't even make a single clone. Naruto grew so mad that he was about to reveal his shadow clone jutsu, but decided to have the upper hand and be underestimated. The air around Naruto pushed the kid back right as Sakura and Ino appeared in the doorway, causing everyone to look at Naruto as he hadn't moved a muscle, but his mouth twisted into a smirk. You think that I would reveal my abilities to any one of you? Secrecy is one of the most important elements in being a shinobi. Believe it. The Uzumaki Namikaze said with a smile, as everyone including Sasuke was shocked by Naruto. Where's that orange jacket, dope? Sasuke said with a smirk as Naruto looked at the Uchiha. It was dirty, so I left it so I could clean it later. That's all. Naruto replied simply as he sat near the edge of the bench where Sasuke sat. Naruto, a familiar voice said as Naruto saw Sakura and sighed. I know. You want to sit by Sasuke, Naruto said with a grin as Sasuke was sweating with having Sakura sit by him. Go ahead. After all, I can still sit by her and let her annoy the crap out of team. He smirked at the Uchiha's paling face as he got up and kindly let Sakura through. To say Sakura was surprised would be like questioning if Shikamaru was lazy. Sasuke was a revenge-driven bastard. Kakashi was tardy all the time. Naruto, loving ramen, okay, and you get it. She even blushed a little at the smiling blonde. Thanks, Naruto. She then sat down as Naruto scooted next to her, and she focused on the Uchiha. Naruto smiled sadly at seeing the Uchiha get all the attention, but then got more determined to prove himself. I'll show Konoha a hero, a savior. I'll be. Naruto thought of a name for himself, rubbing his chin thoughtfully until his eyes brightened in finding a name. The Kaze no Erasure. Naruto looked as he saw Iruka come in, looking a lot better than he was yesterday with his wound having healed. You are now officially Genin, ninja of Konohagakure. You'll now be divided into teams of 3 and be assigned a Jonin sensei. Naruto didn't pay attention until he heard. Team 7 will have Haruno Sakura. Sakura perked up at this, hoping that Sasuke would be with her. Uchiha Sasuke. Sakura cheered while Sasuke had sweat bullets running down his body. And lastly, Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto. Then, Iruka looked to see many confused Genin and a glaring Naruto. Shit. Iruka's sweat dropped when he noticed his mistake. I said, Uzumaki Namikaze, didn't I? That's when he noticed Sakura's hand raise. What is it, Sakura? Why did you add the fourth's last name on the end of Naruto's name when you called him off, sensei? I thought Naruto was just an Uzumaki, whoever they are. Shit, dog fucking shit. Iruka thought as he had sweat coming all over his body, shaking. Well, Sakura, when I thought of Naruto, his last name meaning whirlpool made me think of the fourth's name meaning wind and wave. Sakura still looked suspicious, but nodded, and everyone thought it was just a mishap. Iruka let a silent breath of relief that no one noticed. That was close. All right, Team 8 will consist of Aburame Shino, Hyuga Hinata, and Inazuka Kiba. Next, Team 10 will be Akamichi Choji, Nara Shikamaru, and Ino Yamanaka. Irika then named a bunch of names that Naruto didn't pay any attention to until the last team came about. You'll see your sensei later, so take a break for now. Triple X. Naruto decided to meet up with the Hokage before going back to the academy. Naruto knocked on the door to hear the old man, said come in. The third looked happier seeing that it was Naruto who came in. So Naruto, what's up? Nothing much, Aji-san. Other than Irika almost spilling out my heritage to the whole class. But the only one that really concentrated on it was Sakura-chan. I see, the Hokage said as he looked at Naruto seriously. If you want to tell your teammates, it's fine with me. But what about my father's enemies coming after me? Naruto asked, scared of what will happen to him. Then, I'll protect you from those enemies. You'll only tell those who you can trust completely. Naruto nodded at the third's words. Plus you have Hatake Kakashi as your sensei, the copycat ninja, one of our strongest ninja in the village. Yeah, plus I have my Kage Bunshin and Wind, so I'll be able to kick ass. Naruto exclaimed as he ran out of the office. See ya, Aji-san. The third Hokage chuckled as Naruto left. I'm sure you'll be able to too, Naruto. Triple X. Naruto rushed to the academy, wind rushing around him as he moved. People had bug eyes when they saw a yellow blur move through the door, wind rushing around him. The blur stopped, showing it was Naruto, scratching the back of his head. Hey guys. Naruto then went up and sat in one of the benches in the classroom with everyone talking and chatting to each other. All of a sudden, Uchiha Sasuke approached Naruto and stared at him with intense coal eyes. What is it, Sasuke team? Naruto asked as Sasuke grabbed Naruto by the collar, getting Naruto up out of his seat and everyone there to pay attention. Sasuke was getting angry at this power Naruto had been displaying recently. He wanted to show Naruto that he was better. He was the Uchiha. Whatever power it would never beat his. Naruto was a clan less dope, though Irika's slip at Naruto's name earlier made him curious as he kept seeing the Yondaime, the fourth, in Naruto now. That just fueled the Uchiha's fire, made his anger even worse. Sasuke then smirked at the dead last. Fight me. Those words caused everyone to stop and look at the two, the genius and the idiot, the bright sun and the dark night. Naruto was shocked, wondering why Sasuke, arrogant Sasuke, would want to face him, the dope of the whole class. The only thing he could think of that would cause the bastard to even look his way is his newfound Kekai Genkai, his wind abilities. That's when Naruto's eyes widened in recognition. Sasuke was worried he would surpass him. That Naruto had something that the Uchiha thought was dangerous, that it could defeat him. Naruto smirked at Sasuke, who grew angrier at the Nine-Tails host as he said, So, you scared that I'm growing more powerful? Sasuke? Then, let's show the class how I'm going to kick that arrogant Uchiha ass of yours all the way to the land of waves. This got the class excited and Sasuke shoved Naruto into his seat and went out to where they had practice matches. Naruto made the sign of combat, but Sasuke sneered rushing toward Naruto. Naruto smirked and caught Sasuke's fist as he pushed his own fist forward and landed the punch on Sasuke's cheek, pushing the Uchiha back. Everyone gaped at Naruto hitting Sasuke back, who got up instantly, glaring at that one he called dope. Naruto smirked in landing a punch as he used the wind to rush forward, grab Sasuke's arm, and fling him across the arena. Sasuke landed in the dirt, very angry with the blonde, who taunted the Uchiha, gesturing with his hand for him to come on. How did the dope do that? Sasuke thought, like everybody was. He was never that fast before. Is it a Kekai Genkai, or something I could copy if I had the Sharingan? Sasuke got up, scowled at his opponent, and made a hand sign. Sakura gasped. That is the sign of tiger. Sasuke is going to use a fire release jutsu on Naruto. He could kill him. Fire release, great fireball technique. Sasuke blew a colossal fireball out of his mouth toward Naruto, who made a series of hand signs. Two can play that game, Sasuke. Wind release, vacuum sphere. Naruto breathed in and launched out tons of wind blasts at Sasuke and his giant fireball. The blast caused the fireball to grow bigger and hit Naruto. Damn it! Sasuke thought he was victorious, but saw as both Naruto and the strengthened fireball vanish in a puff of smoke, causing Sasuke's coal eyes to widen in pure shock. That was a clone, a solid clone? How could Naruto make a solid clone when he was so bad with them earlier? He always failed the tests because of that jutsu. Naruto appeared right in front of Sasuke and punched him to the ground. That was my shadow clone technique, and I can create more of them than you can dream of. Sasuke gritted his teeth, rushed at Naruto, and punched him down while pulling out a kunai. Right as Sasuke was about to stab Naruto, Iruka appeared, holding Sasuke's hand from stabbing Naruto. "What do you think you are doing, Sasuke?" Iruka questioned as he released Sasuke's hand. Sasuke just sneered and went on his way with his hands in his pockets with the other students following him. Naruto. Naruto rose up and looked at Iruka. "Why did you and Sasuke fight?" Naruto sighed. "The bastard wanted to fight because he's been seeing me with my Kekai Genkai. It started as a Tajijutsu spar, but then Sasuke, all of a sudden, used his fireball jutsu thing, and I just used a wind jutsu to counter, but that failed miserably." Iruka didn't pry on as Naruto went back into the academy. Naruto must have used his wind to speed himself up, which caused Sasuke to resort to using his fireball. He was so caught up in not losing to Naruto. Both are excellent in Tajijutsu for just graduating out of the academy, so Naruto must have intimidated Sasuke to using ninjutsu. Iruka, then, went inside and saw as everyone but Teams 7, 8, and 10 had left. Soon enough, Sarutobi Asuma came in, smoking his cigarette, with his spiky, coal-black hair. "Team 10, come with me." Shikamaru sighed. Ino moaned at having to be with these guys while Choji just went on his way, munching on chips. After they left, Yuhi Kurenai appeared and called for Team 8. Kiba was excited and blushed when he saw that their sensei was a beautiful kunoichi. Shino was Shino, and Hinata just silently left the room after looking at Naruto for a second. This left an irritated Sasuke, a thinking Sakura, and a bored Naruto. Only 30 minutes later, they did see Hatake Kakashi in the flesh. As he just told them, he thought they were a bunch of boring students just standing there like idiots, and to meet him on the roof. "Good luck, guys," Iruka said to them. "Thanks, Iruka-sensei," Sakura and Naruto said as they rushed to the rooftop, wondering what their life would be like as a ninja. XXX. Kakashi looked bored as he just finished meeting his students. Secretly, he hoped they would pass, but he didn't know if they would be able to work together. Sasuke looked like he thought he would be, the genius Avenger that didn't care about anything but his goals. Sakura surprised him with not being as much as a fangirl as he thought. She still appeared to have a crush on Sasuke, but didn't obsess with him. She also didn't get as angry with Naruto as he thought she would. Then there was Naruto, ramen-obsessed Naruto. Naruto was just like Kushina when she was young. He also held the dream that many people held, from his parents to Tsunade's lover and Tsunade's brother. The dream of becoming Hokage, the dream of being acknowledged by the village was what all of those people shared. Naruto also did something that was very hard for him to do. He told Sakura, Sasuke, and Kakashi about holding Kyuubi and that his parents were the fourth Hokage, Namake's Minato, and the red hot-blooded habanero, Uzumaki Kushina. Naruto even showed them a picture of Kushina and Minato together in what must have been where they lived. This caused Sasuke to acknowledge Naruto more, and the same went for Sakura. They actually understood what Naruto went through, Sasuke more than anyone. Naruto cried tears of pure happiness when he told them, telling them, "Thank you," repeatedly causing Sasuke and Sakura to smile sadly at him. Kakashi went on his way, making sure to go to the gravestone before he set off to the testing area tomorrow, as he did that every single day. XXX. Uzumaki Naruto was happy. His team had acknowledged him more, accepted him more, even when he told them his past. He was rushing toward the testing area, actually running 10 minutes late. When he arrived, he was greeted to Sasuke and Sakura, but no Kakashi-sensei. A few minutes later, Kakashi appeared, got yelled at for being late, sweat dropped, and explained the test about retrieving bells. As soon as the test started, Sakura and Sasuke hid themselves while Naruto chose to stay out in the open. Naruto smirked as he had caught Kakashi with a clone and had him on the ropes with his Kekai Genkai only for Kakashi to use a fireball on him. This caused Naruto to smirk and generate a whirlwind around his fist like an endless vacuum. Wind release, whirlwind vacuum. The fire was actually sucked and combined together to make a tornado of fire with the way stronger wind technique. Naruto's hand started to burn, so he released the fire tornado to a completely shocked Kakashi, while Sasuke and Sakura went to grabbing the bells. Sasuke blew a fireball on the other side of Kakashi as the Jonin went underground and pulled Sasuke down with his earth release, double suicide decapitation technique. Naruto and Sakura helped pull him out only for the alarm to ring. Sakura was sent to the stump for not doing anything, and Naruto was about to give her food, but she declined only for her stomach to betray her by growling. Sasuke then fed her to her delight, only for Kakashi to come out of nowhere like a bat out of hell for him to tell them they passed. This caused Team 7 to cheer in delight, Naruto to free Sakura with a kunai from the stump, and them to go on their way, official ninja of the village hidden in the leaves. Chapter 4. The village that used to be. Naruto had the look of a shinobi, calm, cool, and thoughtful. The determined look in his eye was fierce and untamed like a giant fire. Sakura zoomed in, hiding behind the tree near Naruto, eyes sharp like kunai knives. Sasuke held his usual look, but he was more focused than usual. Kakashi was a little ways away from the trio as he held a little mouthpiece. "What's the distance to the target?" Kakashi asked seriously, like his life depended upon this mission. 5 meters, I'm ready anytime, one of the trio said. "So am I," said another. "Me too," said the last one. "Okay," Kakashi said before going completely serious. "Go." They moved in. Sakura came from the right, her dress moving back like her hair. Sasuke came from the left in a stance, his left hand and arm extended while his right knee was bent forward as he moved in toward the target. Naruto rushed forward, the wind making his run seem like a sprint to get away from my guy when he starts talking about youth. His hands were extended to the target, which was unaware of their presence for a little while. Naruto caught the target, causing the target to start moving and yelling at its captor. Naruto yelled, "Gotcha!" when he caught the target, who kept crying and moving from his grasp. Naruto looked to see that he had captured an angry cat with a ribbon on its left ear. The cat growled and kept swiping at the air in rage at being caught. Naruto looked at the angry feline, which wasn't a good idea as it growled and hissed, and started swiping at Naruto's face. Naruto kept it a distance away so it wouldn't get him. It just kept clawing angrily at Naruto, who just looked unhappily and angrily at the target. Sakura just stood there, smiling at the blonde boy as he kept saying, "No. Bad kitty, bad kitty, bad kitty, quit clawing at me, damn it." Sakura even slightly giggled at watching her teammate being almost clawed. "I rather like my face." Sasuke smirked a little at Naruto's position as he heard Kakashi say, "Ribbon on the left ear. Are you sure this is the target, Tora?" Sasuke looked at the feline, trying to rip Naruto's face to crimson ribbons, and grunted. "Yes, we're sure." Kakashi just stood and said, "Good. Lost pet, Tora, mission complete." Then, they went to where the missions were distributed only for Madame Sure Jimmy, Fire Country Lord's wife, to snatch Tora from Naruto and give it a huge hug. Inside, Naruto was cheering. "Haha, take that, you demented cat from hell." I can see why that cat would leave. Sakura's sweat dropped as she saw the crying cat inside the death grip of the Lord's wife. "Now, let's see," the third said as he looked at the paper of missions. "For Team 7, we have babysitting an elder's grandson, shopping in the neighboring village, and help digging up potatoes." "No way, no way, no way, Aji-san. I want a better mission, a true mission, something exciting. Find us a better mission." Naruto complained to the Hokage, to which Sasuke agreed. "For once, I agree with the dope. These missions won't help me find my brother at all." The Uchiha thought as Kakashi thought this would happen, and he sighed. Iriko was seething. "Naruto, you idiot. You're just a rookie genin. You have to work yourself up to the bigger and better missions." But, we keep getting the crappiest ones. I mean, that cat almost tore my whole fucking face off." Naruto kept complaining to his former teacher. "Be quiet, you." Kakashi bopped Naruto on the head while the Hokage sighed and explained how missions were set up for ninja. Jinin got all of the D-rank missions and lower C-rank missions as well. Chunin got the higher C-rank missions and all of the B-rank missions. Jonin got all of the A ranks while S ranks were left for only the most elite of the Jonin and A and BU. S ranks were really very rare to see though, so the third didn't focus on them very much. Naruto, being Naruto, was just discussing openly what he will have to eat later, a miso ramen, pissing the Hokage off. "Listen," yelled the Hokage as Naruto grew pissed himself. "I'm not that troublemaking brat I was in the academy," Naruto proclaimed to everyone there. "I just want a real mission." The third and Irika merely smiled at what Naruto said. "Okay," the Hokage said, shocking everyone there. "I will give you guys a C-rank mission to protect a certain individual since you want one so much." Yay! The blonde Uzumaki Namikaze cheered as he got really excited. "Who will we protect? A beautiful princess like Sakura-chan, a feudal lord." This caused Sakura to blush and hit Naruto upside the head. Not as hard as she used to though, baka. The third smiled from his pipe. "Calm down, here he comes. Come on in." The door opened, and the air was full of sake as an old man came in, chugging the bottle of sake, glasses on his nose. A backpack was on his back, and a piece of rope was tied to his forehead. His head had gray hair, and a mustache graced his face. He looked down at Team 7 and took another swig of his alcohol. "So these brats are going to protect me? These are just a bunch of super brats. How can they be ninja?" There's a small blonde brat with a stupid look on his face. Naruto grew very angry at the client. "Then, there's that girl with the pink hair. Is that even natural?" Sakura began to crack her knuckles. "Lastly, there's a boy with the hairstyle of a duck's, but with a depressingly, what do they call it nowadays, emo look." This made Sasuke scowl angrily at their client. The client looked at Kakashi, who was keeping his students from tearing the old man apart. "Do you really think they'll do the job?" "You don't have to worry. After all, I'm an elite Jonin ninja. You'll be fine," Kakashi said as they walked to the gate, the three genin glaring at the client. "I am the super expert bridge builder, Tazuna. I expect you to provide me with super protection until I get back to my country and complete the bridge." The genin sweat dropped and thought the same thing at the same time. Does this man love the word super or something? As they walked on their way with Kakashi explaining the villages and lands with the 5 major ninja villages taking the forefront. The hidden leaf with their Hokage, the hidden mist with their Mizukage, the hidden cloud with their Reikage, the hidden sand with their Kazakage, and the hidden rock with its Tsuchikage. After this discussion, Kakashi noticed a puddle even though it hasn't rained for days. A ninja with a giant claw hand with sharp chains appeared and rushed forward as another did the same. The first one flipped while the other one rushed toward Kakashi, both trapping the Jonin in sharp chains by wrapping them around his body. "One down," the two said as Kakashi's eyes widened until he turned into nothing. "Kakashi-sensei," Sakura cried out as the two shinobi looked at the frightened, shaking Naruto and appear behind Naruto, who made a hand sign. "Two down." They chuckled while Naruto's smirk turned and moved back. Wind release, invisible scythes. Naruto grinned as thousands of blades of wind slashed through the ninja like scythes. One of the ninja dodged and dashed for the client as Naruto nodded to Sasuke. Sakura pulled out a kunai to guard the client, Tazuna, who was stunned by the attacking ninja. Sasuke jumped and pulled out a shuriken and a kunai. He threw them at the chains, landing them on a tree as the ninja was stuck. Sasuke rushed and punched the shinobi, causing the chain to fall from the claw. The mist ninja rushed toward Tazuna where Sakura was guarding for Naruto to rush forward with his wind to protect Sakura and Tazuna from the ninja. The ninja's claw dug into Naruto's hand, causing the blonde to wince until Kakashi appeared out of nowhere and stopped the ninja. Tazuna breathed out a sigh of relief as the ninja noticed Kakashi used Kawarimi. Kakashi looked at all his students and I smiled at what they had accomplished, that they had been able to protect Tazuna from the enemy ninja. "All of you were great, though I thought this mission was a C rank, not a B rank. You never mentioned ninja would come after you, Tazuna." Kakashi spoke to the gulping bridge builder. "And Naruto has got injured by those poison claws of those ninja. We should turn back and head Naruto to the hospital and forget about completing the mission." This caused Naruto to gulp and Sakura to speak up. "Yeah, we're not ready for this type of mission. We better turn back and heal Naruto's wounds." Sakura felt guilty. If she was stronger, She wouldn't have had Naruto or Sasuke protect her from the ninja like she was a helpless princess. That's why she wanted to turn back, to make sure Naruto didn't die from protecting her. Naruto grew angry and pulled out a kunai. He shocked everyone when he forced the kunai into the open wound that had poison inside. Sakura gasped at what Naruto was doing. Naruto, what are you doing? Stop that! Sakura yelled as Naruto plunged the knife into the wound. I don't want to be the reason behind not completing this mission, Naruto thought to himself as he looked at everyone with a fierce grin. I, Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto, swear on this kunai that I will continue this mission. Reporting fit for duty, Kakashi-sensei. I won't hold us back, and we will complete this mission. Believe it. Naruto proclaimed to them, every word coming out of his mouth, proving that he won't back down. Triple X. Zabuza and Haku had just met with Gato and were looking on taking on this group of shinobi that beat the Demon Brothers. Zabuza wondered who these shinobi guarding the old man bridge builder. I hope they provide me with some challenge. Zabuza grinned at the idea of a challenge. Haku just followed Zabuza, wondering how he could help his master as they went ahead on the way toward Team 7 and Tazuna. Triple X. Naruto. Kakashi spoke. Naruto looked at his sensei. That was cool how you flushed out the poison, but if you keep bleeding, you'll die. Naruto started to sweat drastically. I'm serious. Naruto started to overreact until Kakashi called him over, looking intently at the wound. It seems the QB allowed your wound to heal faster than people usually do. Kakashi whispered to Naruto, making sure that Tazuna didn't overhear. Is everything alright with Naruto? Sakura asked as Kakashi wrapped Naruto's hand. He should be fine. Kakashi looked to see Tazuna approach. I need to talk to you, the bridge builder said as they approached the boat they would take to Mist Country. Triple X. Zabuza kept moving with Haku behind him. The only thing was with the rabbit that Haku had let loose near where they would see the group approach. Zabuza was getting annoyed with Gato bossing him around. He stopped on a tree, signaling Haku to stop as well. What is it, Zabuza-sama? Haku asked the swordman. We'll need a plan in case the shinobi we meet is more powerful than we thought. If it looks like I'm about to die, pretend that you're a mist hunter ninja with that mask you got from the hunter I killed a while back. That way we can catch them off guard and be able to face them again if we have to. It will only be used as a last resort. All right, Zabuza-sama. Haku replied as the two waited for Team 7 to approach them. Triple X. Kakashi knew this was bad from the moment he heard of Gato from Tazuna. Gato didn't want the bridge built that would link the poor and weak land of Waves to the mainland. Kakashi even said to Naruto that this used to be the land of Whirlpool and where his mother and her relatives lived. This made Naruto wonder what it was like now. As they landed, the cautious rower told them that where they are now was as far into Nami no Kuni he could take them, to which Tazuna thanked him and told Kakashi to take him home safely. It will surely be a Jonin rank shinobi next, Kakashi thought as they walked toward Tazuna's house. Naruto heard a little rustle in a bush beside them, no thinking it through. He threw a kunai right at the bush only to reveal a very frightened snow rabbit. This caused Sakura to freak out and Naruto to apologize to the rabbit, while Kakashi was thinking that something wasn't right. That rabbit's coat is white, but it's springtime. That rabbit's been locked inside a cage indoors. Someone must be here, Kakashi thought to himself. Zabuza looked from the tree he was in. I now see why the Demon Brothers were beaten so easily. That's the Hidden Leaf's Sharingan Kakashi. He pulled out his giant blade and threw it at the shinobi. Kakashi sensed this and told everyone to get down. As this happened, the huge blade went through the tree and Zabuza landed on its hilt, looking down at Kakashi with fierce eyes, and Kakashi replied, Monochi Zabuza, the demon of the hidden mist, the one who knows the slight assassination technique. I didn't think you would be next. Kakashi revealed his Sharingan. It looks like I'm going to have to get serious. I as well, Zabuza said as he landed on the water and began to do his hidden mist jutsu. Kakashi reassured his team and calmed them down only for Zabuza to appear in the middle of them and chuckle. It's over. Kakashi rushed as Naruto made a hand sign and blew Zabuza toward Kakashi, shocking everyone. This brat. Zabuza thought as Kakashi actually pulled out a kunai and held it to the Rouge Ninja's neck. "It's over, Zabuza," Kakashi said, but Zabuza chuckled. "Sorry, but it's not." Zabuza spoke as he held a kunai to Kakashi's neck, showing that the other was a water clone. Zabuza sliced with his blade, but Kakashi ducked and moved back from Zabuza, only for Zabuza to quickly kick him into the water and Kakashi to drop spikes onto the ground. Zabuza sneered at the foolish move and moved toward Kakashi. "Why is this water so heavy?" Kakashi thought as Zabuza appeared behind him, chuckling evilly. "You fool!" Zabuza made hand signs and trapped Kakashi in a water prison. "Damn," Kakashi thought as he looked at the smirking Zabuza. "Now I can finish the job a lot easier." Zabuza looked at the genin and the bridge builder and made a water clone. "Shit," Kakashi cursed in his mind. "He's more powerful than I thought." Zabuza chuckled and looked at the little ninjas. "You guys think you're a ninja? You're pathetic. You're not ninja until you've killed with your bare heads. I have done that many times before." He continued to laugh, scaring the genin. "I even killed my whole class to graduate." "What?" Naruto yelled, scared for his life. "Though because I killed everyone, they stopped that tradition." Zabuza chuckled as he looked fiercely at the genin. "I can still hear their screams and feel the blood on my hands. Those were the days." His clone rushed in and bashed Sasuke into the ground. Zabuza then disappeared and appeared before Naruto, kicking him with enough force to where his headband flew off. Naruto was shaken when he looked at the evilly chuckling Zabuza. "You're just brats. You're only ninja when you're in my bingo book," Zabuza proclaimed as Naruto rushed forward. "Naruto, don't. Just take the others and Tazuna and run. You can't defeat him," Kakashi yelled at the blonde, but he ignored his teacher's words, running forward and grabbing his headband with intense speed. As he pulled out a kunai and stabbed the water clone, causing it to disappear and Naruto to put on his headband, shocking everyone there. "Hey, browless wonder," Naruto mocked Zabuza. "Then, you better put this into your bingo book." Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto, the future 5th Hokage of Konohagakure. Believe it. Zabuza grew a little pissed as he made another water clone that rushed Naruto, who just backflipped back to Sasuke and a surprisingly blushing Sakura. "Okay, Sasuke," the blonde spoke, getting the Uchiha's attention. "I've got a plan for once, so listen up." Sasuke lightly chuckled. "Then, it better be good dope." Sakura stood there, looking at Naruto, lightly blushing. "This is... Naruto, what is this feeling?" "All right then," Naruto got up and grinned. "Let's go wild." Zabuza's clone moved into action as Naruto looked at Tazuna, who nodded. "Get going and free your sensei." "All right, old man," Naruto said as he gave Sasuke his pack and made shadow clones. "Let's get going, Sasuke." "Right," Sasuke answered back. The clones each made a series of hand signs and blew wind into their mouths. Wind release, vacuum sphere. Multiple blasts of air hit the clone, causing it to widen its eyes and vanish into water. Naruto rushed forward towards Zabuza and Kakashi, wind surrounding him like invisible armor. "Now, Sasuke!" Naruto yelled as Sasuke threw the demon wind shuriken, windmill of shadows, at Zabuza. "You think a shuriken will stop me?" Zabuza quickly made a clone to stop a shuriken, but it vanished as the remainder of Naruto's clones took it out. "I'm underestimating these brats." Another shuriken appeared in front of the real Zabuza as he just hopped, and it fell under him. "A shuriken can't touch me." The shuriken all of a sudden poofed into a Naruto with a kunai as Sasuke, and the approaching Naruto smirked. The Naruto threw the kunai in midair as Zabuza lost his grip on the prison, and the real Naruto was in front of Zabuza, unleashing his wind armor into an attack, knocking the Rouge Ninja into a tree and Kakashi to appear before him. "There's no way I'll lose to a monkey who copies my moves and his damn bratty students." Zabuza started doing a series of signs that Kakashi did too. They both finished at the same time. Water release, water dragon bullet technique. The Genin were in awe of the clashing dragons as the two shinobi then saw Kakashi and Zabuza moving back from each other after clashing together. They started doing the same movements, which made Zabuza angrier at Kakashi. "All you do is copy me," Zabuza said as he made a bunch of hand signs with Kakashi, and then they both said, "You can't beat me." You monkey bastard. Zabuza grew even angrier as he kept making hand signs. I'll make it so you can never talk with that monkey mouth of yours. Zabuza thought he was seeing himself. Is this a jinjutsu? Kakashi took this moment to complete Zabuza's jutsu. Water release, great waterfall technique. Zabuza was shocked completely by this as he was sent into a tree with Kakashi looked down on him, kunai in hand. Can you see into the future? Yes, yours is death, Kakashi said as he was about to strike, when two Senbon needles struck Zabuza's neck and a hunter ninja appeared and caught Zabuza. So, you're here for Zabuza. Kakashi knew of the hunter ninja who just said, you were right about his future. Kakashi was getting weak, so he just let the hunter ninja go with Zabuza, not thinking about what might happen later on. Who was that, Kaka-sensei? Naruto asked as Kakashi merely said it was a hunter ninja that will dispose of Zabuza's body. Kakashi passed out, shocking his team. Crap, I must have used the Sharingan for too long and used too much chakra. Damn it. Triple X. Kakashi awoke to see a woman. You're finally awake. That must be the daughter Tazuna spoke of, Tsunami, Kakashi thought as he looked at his students. So, Kaka-sensei. Naruto spoke, which made Kakashi look at his student. Is Zabuza really dead and taken care of? Something made Naruto feel that Zabuza wasn't dead. This made Kakashi's eyes widen. Yeah, he's alive. This made everybody sweat drop. Why didn't you tell us the eyebrowless freak was alive? I was too weak to tell you. I wasted too much chakra and didn't think about that supposed hunter ninja that took Zabuza's body when he was supposed to dispose of it right there. The hunter nin must be an ally of Zabuza's. We'll probably have to face them again. So while protecting Tazuna, we'll be training to become stronger. Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi looked at the one who spoke to see it was Naruto again. Can I see the remains of Yuzushogyakure before we train? Naruto's eyes held desperation to see where his mother used to live. All right, Kakashi eye smiled at his student as he got up on his crutches that he had to get used to walking on for a while. We'll go right now with you, Naruto. Naruto cheered as the team got ready to see the fallen village. Triple X. Here's Yuzushogyakure, Kakashi said as they saw an area of fallen pillars with the Uzumaki clan's symbol on them in an area of water. It was destroyed because of the threat they held with their superior Fuinjutsu during the war. Naruto kneeled near the water, looking at the steep hills in the countryside. Naruto. Could you guys? Naruto asked in his voice, sounding weak and on the verges of collapsing. Please give me a moment. Sure. Kakashi eye smiled as he pushed Sakura and Sasuke forward away from Naruto. Sakura looked back toward Naruto for a moment, and her heart felt heavy when she saw droplets of water land onto the ground. She knew from Naruto's voice of sadness that these drops were tears. Just sad tears. Chapter 5. The reality of Nami no Kuni. Naruto felt his sadness invade his body, a virus that just took over his body. He looked toward his mother's home, where she came from, and it was just a bunch of pillars that stuck out of the water. Tears freely flowed from his cerulean pools as he kept looking at the destruction in front of him. It just made him feel like this village is him, broken and destroyed. That all he was were the broken pillars that barely stood out of the water's surface. He just kept openly bawling like a kid, an idiotic kid that can't control his emotions. Sakura and Sasuke could hear Naruto's saddening cries as they could see his back, weak and bent. Kakashi showed no emotion, but inside, he felt a deep sadness from Naruto and what he had been through. The village he lived in hated and despises him for the most part. He was the class clown and dead last of his academy graduating class, and he had no family left. All he had were stories others told him about them and the picture that the Hokage gave him. Other than that, he knew nothing of them except those things and of the Uzumaki clan, a clan that was known for sealing techniques. Naruto found out that after Yuzushogyakure was destroyed that many Uzumaki went and hid in many other villages in the shinobi world. He hoped to see one that might know about his mother or just tell him more about the clan from someone that knew exactly how they were. The tears were waterfalls, continually flowing down onto the ground until Naruto felt supporting hands on his back. Naruto looked to see his team behind him, smiling sadly at him. Naruto, We will be your family, Sakura said lightly to the boy. We will support each other and make sure everything is all right. We will be your family. Sasuke smiled at Naruto for once. Dope. I know what it feels like to have nothing, no family just like you. Not only did you have no family, but no support otherwise. While I choose to be alone, you weren't given that choice. You were alone from the start, and I'm just noticing how much we have in common. I think that eventually, we will be like brothers. No, we are brothers. Naruto started to look at them and smile as he got up and looked at them. Thanks, guys. Kakashi I smiled at the team as Naruto cheerfully said, Now, let's get to that training. This caused everyone to laugh and move ahead toward the future. Triple X. So, what will our training be, Kaka-sensei? Naruto asked his teacher excitedly. A chakra control exercise, Kakashi spoke as he generated chakra to his feet and started walking up a tree. He found a branch as he looked down at his students and I smiled. You'll be climbing trees like I did. Awesome, Naruto cheered and was about to try it, but Kakashi stopped him. I have to explain. This exercise requires you to focus your chakra to the bottom of your feet, a stable amount, and walk up the tree. Too much will cause the tree to crack, and too little will cause you to not even get on the tree. But you guys will learn better when you actually try it. Kakashi threw them each a kunai as it landed in front of each of them. Just try it out. Naruto chuckled as he picked up the kunai. I can do this in my sleep. Kakashi had an almost dead look to him. Whatever you say, great Naruto-sama. Naruto and the others rushed the trees. Surprising Kakashi was that Sasuke was the first to fall of the tree as he put too much chakra on the tree, causing it to start to break. He took the kunai and made a cut as he landed on the ground safely. Naruto got at least 1/4 of the way before making a slash on the tree's body, lost his grip on the tree. He feared he was going to fall and hit the ground hard, but he opened his eyes to see he was floating in midair. He dropped safely to the ground, surprised at what happened. Sakura was already zooming through the tree, expertly reaching to the top. She looked down from the top of a tree, resting on the tree branch. Smiling and playfully sticking out her tongue in accomplishment, she looked at her teammates and teacher. This is pretty easy. Naruto looked up and saw his crush on top of the tree. Wow, Sakura-chan, that's awesome. Sasuke just looked down at the ground in failure. Kakashi just said, the Uchiha and the 4th Hokage's legacy are not as strong as I thought they would be. Kakashi-sensei. Sakura yelled at her teacher at taunting her teammates. Naruto and Sasuke looked at each other and nodded as they got off the ground. They focused on their chakra and ran up the tree while Sakura came down from hers, walking swiftly down the trunk. Naruto didn't get it all much further up than before, falling to the ground after marking the tree. Sasuke got quite a bit farther, closer to Naruto, and he marked the tree before falling. Naruto grew frustrated and looked at the exhausted Sakura that was resting under the tree. She went up. He approached her, causing Kakashi to look at his student. Sakura, Naruto spoke as he looked around and then got closer to Sakura. Can you help me do this? Sakura was amazed. Naruto was actually asking for her help. She blushed a little and grinned, sticking her tongue out a little. She was better at something than the others after all. Okay, Naruto, I'll help you out. Naruto lit up and focused on as Sakura spoke to him, and Kakashi looked on. I wonder how much you'll grow, Naruto. It'll be a treat to see what you become. Unknowing to them, a little boy was watching them. It's all useless. Why even try? Then the boy went back to Tazuna's house, not understanding why these ninjas thought they could do anything. Triple X. Tazuna was about to head out and build the bridge when he saw 3 people enter the house. Triple X. Sasuke was panting. Damn it, how did he accomplish this? Sasuke went up the tree, slashed the bark, and dropped to the ground before repeating the process. Triple X. So, where's the pretty boy at? Tazuna asked Kakashi, Sakura, and the grinning Naruto. He's out training on the trees out back. Kakashi explained as he put his hand on the heads of Sakura and Naruto. These two have already passed the training and will be protecting you now while I rest, Tazuna. Really? Said the surprised bridge builder as he looked at the smiling duo, scratching the back of their heads. I thought Pretty Boy would have already beaten these two easily. Naruto grew a tick mark and yelled, "I'm better than Sasuke. Believe it." Sakura lightly punched Naruto's head and told him to quiet down. "All right, whatever you say," Tazuna said as he exited the house. "Let's get going." "Right," the two exclaimed seriously as they walked with the bridge builder. Triple X. Sasuke kept going up the tree, slashing the bark and cursing. "I can't believe that Naruto beat me to the top. If I can't even beat the dead last, what does it make me? I'll never be able to defeat my brother." Although Naruto has had his struggles, the village will not even give him a glance. His parents are dead, and he has been alone almost all of his life. He also has been housing the demon fox inside his body against his will and has a Kekai Jinkai from the fourth himself. Sasuke shook his head and growled at himself. "Forget about Naruto. Just focus on the tree, focus on the tree." Sasuke concentrated and then ran up the tree, finally reaching really close to the top before marking his place and landing back on the ground. "I'm getting close." Triple X. Haku undid the bun holder, let his hair drifted a little over his shoulders as he held a basket to collect herbs to help Zabuza become cured. His sleeveless pink kimono fluttered a little with the wind. The way he looked, he could probably be mistaken for a young lady. He picked at the herbs in the forest, and then a bird perched on his shoulder. Little did Haku know, someone knew that he was there, and that person watched him like a bird, a crow, attentive and fierce. Triple X. "This is boring," Naruto complained as he pouted at having to do this job. "I could be doing training right now, but I'm stuck guarding the old man. I want something exciting to happen." "Naruto," Sakura scolded her teammate. "Don't ask for anything like that." She glared at the blonde. "You never know what might happen." "All I know is that if something's going to happen, it better be amazing, fucking intense, and it better come fucking soon." Naruto yelled as the bridge builder Tazuna grew angry at the brat. "You have a big mouth, you know, brat. I'd rather Pretty Boy be here than you. At least all he'll say is a grunt and ignore me. You are just annoying the crap out of me." "You know you love me, old man." Naruto joked at Tazuna, who sighed as he saw one of the bridge builders leave. "Hey, Jichi, what are you doing?" Tazuna asked as elderly bridge builder named Jichi turned and looked into Tazuna's eyes. "I'm leaving, Tazuna. I don't want to lose my life because of this bridge. This is all foolhardy. We're all going to die if we continue this bridge to the end. No, there's no way that this bridge will be finished. Gato and his men will kill us all." "So, you're just a coward," Naruto said fiercely as Jichi looked at the boy. "What do you know, kid? You have never lived in a situation where you can die at any moment. This bridge is just a foolish, childish dream for those who want to die. Are you just wanting a death wish?" Jichi didn't understand this boy at all. Why would this blonde kid be willing to help with this bridge? He would just end up dead. He didn't get what this boy was thinking. He was asking to be killed. Naruto grew angry at this man. "I'm a ninja. I have been trained that I'll have to face life or death situations at one point. This bridge isn't a childish dream. This bridge is for your country, for your people. This is for your wife, your brothers and sisters, your sons and daughters, and the future generation of Nami no Kuni. This is your chance to take a stand and kick Gato right in the ass. If you risk your life, you'll be honored and your family will be proud of what you accomplished. Why can't you see that this is more than just the dream of an old bridge builder? This is the dream of Nami no Kuni, and I'll support this dream. I will make this dream a reality, and I will not die here. I won't die until I become the leader of my village. Not until I become Hokage. If you leave now, leaving your fellow people out to die for the sake of their village, then go ahead. That just means that you're worse than scum to me." Everyone looked at Naruto with wide eyes. This boy had yelled out to this deserter just how much this bridge meant to their people. Sakura was even surprised by Naruto's speech. She had never seen Naruto speak like this. Sure, he would say he'd be Hokage and all that, but she could sense feelings and passion behind Naruto's words now. Determination flowed through everyone to complete this bridge, the bridge that would lead them to their dream, a better nation, and a better future. Even Jichi was shocked at this boy and his speech. It almost made him change his mind and support the bridge, but it still didn't. The guy walked away from them like a coward and Tazuna just yelled at him. Don't come back tomorrow. You're done. Now, Jichi looked at the incomplete bridge. He sighed. He didn't have a job, but at least he had a life. Everyone else thought differently. To them, Jichi lost everything, even his dignity. It's noon. It's time to call it a day for now, Tazuna said as he rubbed Naruto's hair. You're less of a brat than I thought. Naruto and Tazuna smile at each other as Sakura joined them, smiling as they went into town. Triple X. Haku was slightly stunned when a kunai knife was thrown right in front of him, landing by his feet. A familiar shinobi dropped from a tree with the Uchiha symbol on his back. The boy stared at Haku intensely as Haku remembered him to be with that group of ninja that Zabuza faced in the woods. That symbol on his back is of the famous Uchiha clan, but I heard from Zabuza that it was dead, all of its members slaughtered by the Rouge Ninja Uchiha Itachi. This boy doesn't wield the Sharingan though, so I don't know if he's just faking it and putting on a show to intimidate people. I heard from that blonde kid that his name was Sasuke. I didn't catch the blonde's name though. Haku thought as Sasuke was glaring daggers at the boy. What are you doing here way out into the woods? Sasuke stood with his arms across his chest. Haku just smiled and said, I was picking herbs to heal my master. Sasuke still looked cautiously at Haku, but was shocked when he giggled. Do you have someone special to you? Someone to protect? Triple X. Naruto and Sakura were shocked at this town. People were running around. Calls of thief flooded the village as people were homeless with dirt-covered bodies. Even children, Sakura thought, sadly looking at the dirty child as they enter a store. Welcome, said the shopkeeper as all Naruto and Sakura saw was tiny beans and dust. Tazuna looked as a guy saw Sakura's pouch and was about to take something, but Naruto saw him and stopped him faster than the speed of light. What do you think you're doing to Sakura-chan? Sakura turned around as Naruto said this to see him talking angrily to a shady guy. Naruto knew what the man wanted, money, but this guy looked like he was someone that wasted money on drugs. Naruto still felt bad for the guy, sneaking a few ryo his way while telling him to get lost. Naruto also knew the man couldn't get drugs with that money, but it would give the man something. Plus, Naruto knew from appearances not to judge, so he at least gave the man money to buy goods or food. If there is any food, Naruto thought, almost forgetting about the store that they were in, almost empty and bare. Sakura and Naruto were stunned by this tortured town. Gado's reign allowed this country to fall and never get back up. Naruto knew he had to help this village, but suddenly he sensed something. He looked behind him and Sakura to see a little boy tugging at Sasuke's dress. Sakura turned to see a little boy, holding out his hands, hoping for something. The look in this boy's eyes made Naruto smile sadly at the boy before he stopped Sakura from giving the boy her candy she had in her pouch. Naruto smiled sadly at Sakura, whispering, "Let me, Sakura-chan." Naruto pulled out his slightly bigger storage of candy, 15 individually wrapped candies that made the boy's eyes spark with joy, stuffing them into his pockets, and was about to run away when Sakura stopped him, smiling at him, giving him 5 candies herself. The boy felt so happy that someone would do this. His heart swelled with joy as he thanked the 2 ninja and ran with the 5 candies still in hand. This made Naruto even more determined to save this village and help build the bridge. I will make sure that this village becomes better. He began walking as Sakura smiled at him, also feeling like they should help the village. Tazuna and the 2 teammates headed to the house, preparing to do whatever to help this tragic village. Triple X. Someone precious to me, Sasuke thought as he angrily looked at Haku. How dare this person talk of precious people to me? All those precious to me were taken away. How could this smiling freak even think they know who he was and what he had been through? Sasuke's teeth grinded together in rage as he looked fiercely at this person before him, wanting to kill this person right now. I'll tell it off so it can leave me to finishing the tree climbing exercise. You talk happily of these precious people you speak of, but what if these people were taken from you? Those close to you taken by the one you trusted so much, but that person backstabbed you and killed all of those you loved and became your goal. You are just mocking me. Sasuke rushed at this person, his eyes losing sight, following by instinct. only to be stopped by a hand. Sasuke looked to not see the person he was starting to hate, but his teammate Uzumaki Namikaze's Naruto. "What are you doing, Sasuke?" Naruto asked angrily as Haku was stunned by the blonde's appearance. "This person is mocking me, telling me about these precious people that he believes in yet not knowing about me. How all my precious people were taken from me by the one I love the most, the one I trusted the most. He doesn't know how I feel. You don't know how I feel. You never had anything precious in your entire life." Sasuke gasped at what he had said to his teammate. He wasn't thinking when he said that to Naruto. He didn't mean what he said, not at all. Sasuke looked Naruto in the eye, seeing a broken and darkened soul like his own. "Naruto, I wasn't thinking when I said that." "No," Naruto said coldly at his teammate, scaring Sasuke slightly when he looked into Naruto's maelstrom eyes. "You weren't thinking from the start." "What?" Sasuke uttered to Naruto. "What do you mean, Naruto?" "You have precious people, Sasuke. You have Kakashi-sensei, who is teaching you and allowing you to grow stronger. You have Sakura-chan, who's becoming less of an annoyance as you would call her. And lastly, you have me, your rival, teammate, and best friend." Naruto smiled sadly at his teammate. "Or are we nothing compared to your dream? Are we nothing compared to your ambition? Huh? Great Uchiha Sasuke." Naruto spat as he walked away from the two with Haku looking intently at Naruto. Naruto turned around and looked Sasuke in the eye. "At least now that you are precious to us." Naruto went off, leaving Haku and Sasuke in the forest, wanting to let out some steam before heading back to Tezuna's house. Haku was stunned by the boy who was walking away, but smiled as he went on his way. "Naruto, huh? He will grow stronger, definitely. Triple X." Naruto was outside after dinner and explanation of why Inari, Tsunami's kid, was a brat all the time. Naruto sighed as he remembered what he said to the crying boy. The boy saw his father, his hero, fall and die by the hands of Gato. It made the boy lose hope and just wallow at what he lost. The stars in the sky calmed Naruto down from all that had happened from the bridge to Sasuke to Inari. All Naruto knew was that he could forgive Sasuke. His teammate just wasn't thinking at the time, too riled up to even think straight. What that boy said to Sasuke must have triggered something. Naruto sighed as he went inside to sleep. It was a long day. He needed some rest. He was going to have an even longer day tomorrow. Chapter 6. The Boy Who Saved a Nation. Naruto was fast asleep, sleeping soundly like a baby, making Sakura giggle lightly as she peeked through the cracked door. Her pack was on as Sasuke was right beside her, and Kakashi was talking to Tsunami while Tezuna was about to go outside. "Keep watch over Naruto while we're gone," Kakashi said looking at his sleeping student. "He needs it." "I will," Tsunami replied as Tezuna told them to get moving and went outside. Kakashi eye-smiled at the lady and put his hand up. "See ya." The four went off, leaving Naruto behind, not knowing that two men were approaching the house. Triple X. Naruto was drooling in his sleep, muttering about ramen and Hokage. He awoke and looked very confused when Sasuke and Kakashi weren't in the room, sleeping as well. Naruto just thought they were doing something in the kitchen until he heard a woman scream and a plate crash onto the floor. Naruto quickly put on a pair of his orange pants and one of his black Uzumaki spiral shirts, not bothering with his headband. Naruto looked outside the door and gasped at seeing two samurai approaching a frightened Tsunami, as Inari also saw, looking through the path to the bathroom. "Quiet down, lady. We need a hostage for Gato, and I don't want to have to do anything to you before you go to the boss," Waraji, the darker-skinned samurai, said as he touched Tsunami's face and chuckled when she gasped and slapped him. "Don't make me cut you women. We could just use that cowardly boy of yours as hostage and kill you." "Waraji, you stupid jackass. We won't get pay if we fail Gato now. We have to give him the women, and then he'll probably destroy the bridge that annoying, ignorant bridge builder is trying to build. Then we'll be Gato's right-hand men if that Haku and Zabuza fail at the bridge. After all, he'll have his hired help to defeat the two when the ninjas weaken them. It's the perfect plan." The other samurai with white hair laughed as Waraji sweat dropped at his laughing companion. "You know you just told the kid and the women the whole plan, you dumbass Zori." Waraji yelled at the other samurai who glared and then chuckled. Like they can do anything about it. Zori chuckled darkly as he looked at the boy. Since the woman isn't budging, then we'll just take her cowardly boy. He was approaching the frightened Inari. No! Tsunami screamed at Zori, who turned, grinning as he looked at the desperate women. I'll be the hostage. Then, we can dispose of the boy. Waraji chuckled gleefully as Inari was frozen. I'd love to see his face once I cleave this blade through his body. If you even touch or kill my son, I'll kill myself by biting my tongue and letting it take my life by choking on it. Tsunami said dead seriously as Naruto felt overwhelmed by the tension. Tsunami cares so much for Inari. Naruto thought, crying. This must be how a mother feels. Did my mother care about me so much that she sacrificed her life for mine? Naruto, then, grew serious as the samurai took the women out of the house and left the crying Inari. Naruto was getting angry at the sobbing boy. Come on, you're just going to give up and lose one of the most precious people in your life? Grow up and be strong. Fight for her. Don't let her be sacrificed for your sake. Show the world how much she means to you. Other than the old man, she's all you got. Inari just stood there, crying. Why? Why am I so weak? Why can't I be like? Faces came to his mind, from his old man, to that weird one-eyed sensei of the ninja, that pink-haired girl, that depressed-looking boy, to his mother, to his dead father, Kaiza, and lastly Naruto. Them? Why can't I be cool? Inari wiped his eyes and remembered everything Kaiza and Naruto had said to him about being a hero and to quit mopping around. Can I be strong like them too? Naruto, father? The little boy clenched his fists and ran toward the samurai and his captured mother as Naruto looked and smiled secretly at the boy. Good job, Inari. Naruto moved out the window in the room he occupied and smiled. Now, let me be the hero. After all, they come at the last minute. Naruto chuckled as he ran toward the start of the house, hearing Inari tell them to stop and give him his mom. Inari ran toward the samurai, who just smirked at the boy. You just made your death sentence, kid. They both pulled out their blades and ran toward the boy. Inari, no. Tsunami cried out as the samurai sliced, only to look in shock when it was a giant log. What? The samurai yelled, angry that the boy wasn't there. Looks like the hero appeared just in time. Inari. Naruto grinned as Inari was by his side, and a surprisingly blushing Tsunami was in his arms, bridal style. He set the women down, scratching the back of his head and blushing himself. Sorry about that, miss. Tsunami giggled and gave Naruto a kiss on his cheek as Naruto blushed at the action. It's all right, my hero. This made Naruto's face even darker red, and he chuckled. Hey, that's one of Tezuna's hired ninja. Let's get that idiot now. The samurai charged while Naruto chuckled at the duo. That's ironic, since look behind you. The two looked back only to see two Naruto clones knock them out with a single blow. Inari looked at Naruto, amazed at what he had done. That was awesome, Naruto. Naruto chuckled, and he looked at Tsunami. The others are at the bridge, right? Tsunami merely smiled and nodded, which made Naruto grin. All right, a hero's job is never done, right? He ran forward only to stop. Inari. Yeah, Naruto? Inari asked, wiping the happy tears from his face. Dang it, I'm crying. Naruto looked back, his hands behind his back, and smiled at the boy. It's all right to cry if you're happy. You're getting strong, Inari. I'm sorry, but I've got to go. See ya, you two. Inari grinned and waved as Naruto took to the bridge. Yeah. See you, Naruto. X. Sasuke was exhausted, huffing his breath as he looked at the crystal mirrors before him. Damn it. I can't break or even burn these ice mirrors. Sasuke's body was a voodoo doll, needles sticking out of his body in all sorts of places. He looked fiercely at Haku and made a series of hand signs. Fire release, dragon flame technique. Sasuke breathed in and unleashed a fury of flames that actually slightly melted the ice more than his earlier fireball, but it still barely seemed to phase the demonic ice mirrors. He cursed at himself, angry at not being able to defeat this ninja. It seems that this is all you're capable of, Haku said as he pulled out some more needles and threw them at the Uchiha. Now die. Right as the needles approached Sasuke, he moved swiftly past them, his eyes now crimson red with two comma marks around the pupil in each eye. His face held a look of shock at what he was able to do. I must have gained it. Sasuke smirked at his luck as his eyes pulsated. I have the Sharingan. How does he hold the Sharingan? Haku gasped internally before he widened his eyes in realization. He is a part of the Uchiha clan, and he holds the Sharingan. But how is this boy alive when that man that was named Itachi was heard to have slaughtered the whole clan? It was genocide, a holocaust. Now, you'll face the true power of the Uchiha, Sasuke said, smirking at what he accomplished. Triple X. I wonder, Zabuza said out loud in the mist with his eyes closed. Where's that loud blonde brat that ranted on how he would be the next Hokage? Kakashi merely stood there at ease, planning on using his ninja dogs to track down Zabuza since his blood was on the blade. He put the scroll on the ground and I smiled. He'll be here soon enough, knowing him. He'll probably laugh and say something like, the hero comes in at the last moment. Kakashi chuckled and then glared in the direction of where he heard Zabuza, his Sharingan eye rotating like an extremely fast Ferris wheel. Too bad he won't see me kill your arrogant ass. I have more than just Sharingan up my sleeve. Zabuza chuckled. Then, let's see it, Hatake. I'll show you gladly, Kakashi said fiercely as a group of dogs were summoned, traveling under the ground of the bridge. Summoning. Earth release. Tracking Fong technique. I don't see anything, Kakashi. Zabuza laughed darkly. Now you die along with that Uchiha you have as a student. Kakashi smirked when he heard distant barking and Zabuza sounding surprised. Kakashi looked forward to see Zabuza, stuck where he was because of a horde of dogs held him there. I used my blood on your blade to track you underground with my summoning technique, and the mist is clearing up, so I think it's time to say this again. Your future is death. Stop, you hokey fortune teller, Zabuza yelled in rage. Your predictions will never come true. Kakashi glared at Zabuza. I'll make sure you die by this, my own creation. The Sharingan shinobi made hand signs before lightning starting to crackle on his palm. Lightning blade. Zabuza's eyes widened at the technique. Holy crap, the chakra's visible. Like I've said, Zabuza, Kakashi said, before rushing toward him. Your future is no more. Triple X. Sasuke was no longer smirking as he looked fiercely at his opponent before falling to his knee. Damn it, it can't end here. It ends here, Haku said as he threw the needles right at the wounded Uchiha. Triple X. Kakashi was still rushing at Zabuza, his hand full of lightning, pulled back and about to be pushed forward. I will not die here, damn it. Zabuza cursed in his mind as he saw the copy ninja approach, sending all his hate at him through glaring, sewer water eyes. Triple X. Sasuke had his eyes closed, but never felt the needle reach him. Instead, he felt someone in front of him. He opened his eyes and looked slightly down to see his blonde-haired teammate, grinning while Haku had his own needles stabbed into his hand. Very skilled. You are, Naruto, Haku said behind his mask. Naruto, Sasuke asked as he saw his teammate's trademark grin. The hero, Kaze no Erasure, has arrived, Naruto said cheerfully, looking at Haku. Sasuke smirked at him. So you got up dope? Shut up, team. Naruto smiled at Sasuke when he said this as Sasuke did the same back. Naruto looked at Haku. Let's end this guy, so we can help Kakashi-sensei with Zabuza. What do you have in mind? Sasuke whispered as Naruto merely smiled. Just use a fire release jutsu on me. Triple X. Sakura could see something as the fog was clearing up. Either Kakashi or Zabuza was running at the other with a very powerful ninjutsu. I hope Sasuke is alright, and I wonder if Naruto is here yet. I just want them all to be safe. Sakura heard a loud cry, and her eyes widened. What happened? Triple X. Dope. Have you lost your mind? How long were you asleep? Sasuke yelled at him. Naruto turned serious, his arm extended as he did a hand sign with one hand. Just do it, Sasuke. Sasuke made the hand signs and blew his dragon flame technique right on Naruto's arm. The fire was sucked into a whirlwind, a vortex of wind as Sasuke remembered this from the bell test. Wind-fire release hybrid, Inferno of Hell technique. Naruto released the jutsu at a completely shocked Haku as it burned the mirrors into water. We did it dope, Sasuke said as Naruto dashed with his wind and reeled back his fist with wind surrounding it. Naruto hit Haku, causing him to fall back to the railing of the bridge, his mask broken into shards. We did it. Sasuke's eyes widened in horror as the water on the ground turned into a bunch of Haku clones that surprised even Naruto. Move it dope, but it was too late for his teammate, who had thousands of needles stabbed onto his body. Sasuke was frozen. Eyes were wide in pure shock as he chuckled in denial of what his eyes were showing him. Even if he had his Sharingan active at the moment, he could hear his heart rate increase for the first time in what felt like forever. It felt unnatural and horrific as he saw his teammate's body fall to the ground in slow motion. "You're not dead, right, dope?" He continued to chuckle madly in denial. No answer. "Stop with the pranks, Naruto. If you do, I'll buy you a life supply of ramen. I mean a life supply." Still no reply. Sasuke's eyes changed to his coal eyes, still filled with sadness, and verged on spilling a flood of tears. He saw the life of Naruto flow out of his shell in a sad crimson color. This made Sasuke shake in fear and madness. "Say something, dope." Still nothing. "Say something, damn it." "You should know that he is dead, Uchiha Sasuke," Haku said as he looked at Naruto's body, his face now known as the one who told him in the forest if he had someone precious to him. He was a great shinobi, trying to protect this nation, his precious people, even when he was scorned from the place he called home. He died a death worthy of a shinobi. Sasuke's fists clenched to reality, and he scowled in anger at the ground. Tension filled the air around them as Haku couldn't hear Sasuke mutter angrily, "Shut up." "What did you say?" Haku asked as all the air around him seemed to blow toward him in rage. "Shut up. You don't even know or understand us," Sasuke yelled in anger, tears still not spilling from his eyes. "You don't understand what he went through." With those words, Sasuke charged on a rampage as Haku suddenly widened his eyes and made a hand sign. "Sorry, but there's something I must do." "Sasuke." Right as Sasuke was about to punch the daylights out of Haku, he disappeared. Sasuke quickly established himself on the ground, not falling over, before turning and seeing Naruto's body. He slowly and sadly approached his teammate. When he was over his teammate, his tears finally fell little by little onto the blonde's face. He fell onto his knees, his body shaking uncontrollably like he was back at the Uchiha estate, seeing Itachi kill his family again. This pain was the same pain he felt back then as he lifted his head into the air. "Era!" Sasuke yelled sadly and angrily into the open air, his emotions running wild as his tears flooded down his face. To him, it felt like rain was pouring onto his face. Triple X. Kakashi was shocked when he felt his hand being grabbed and hearing an angry Zabuza-sama. He saw Haku instead of Zabuza, causing Zabuza to chuckle madly. "Looks like your predictions are false after all, Kakashi." Zabuza was about to swing, but ended up only slicing Haku as Kakashi barely ducked out of the way. Kakashi quickly saw Zabuza coming and made another lightning blade, rushing at him, causing the swordsman to chuckle. "Face it, Kakashi. You're the one to die." Kakashi pushed his lightning blade with all his might as Zabuza blocked with his giant Kubikurabocho, only to be shocked when Kakashi drove his jutsu through the blade, cutting it in two and piercing Zabuza a little. Zabuza backed away and sliced with his remaining blade as it slashed Kakashi, the blood having its iron being used to repair his blade. Zabuza chucked when he saw Kakashi was shocked at the blade. "It's over now, Hatake." Kakashi took kunais and stabbed Zabuza before he could even swing his blade, causing both his arms to become inactive. "Damn it, Kakashi." "No, now it'll be over," Monochi Zabuza of the Seven Swordsmen. Right as Kakashi was about to finish him off, they both were shocked to hear clapping on the other end of the bridge. Triple X. Sakura was worried, hearing a voice that sounded like Sasuke. She gasped as she thought, "What if he's dead?" Sakura looked at Tazuna with a worried look as the bridge builder sighed. "We'll go together if you want to check it out. That way you're still technically okay since you're with me, guarding me." Sakura smiled and thanked him, running toward her teammates, dragging Tazuna along for the ride. Triple X. I can't believe the demon of the hidden mist had fallen so far down, Gato said, looking at Zabuza smugly. To be defeated by mere ninja, I expected better of you. He kicked Haku's corpse and smirked. That's what you get for being weak and injuring my arm that day? You really pissed me off. Gato then looked to see Zabuza glare and then smirked devilishly. I've decided to not pay you at all, demon. He gestured at the many men behind him and grinned. They'll take care of you and the leftover ninja. Sasuke appeared before Kakashi, still shocked from Naruto's death, but knew he had to help his sensei, and then he saw what he had feared was coming, his other teammate, Sakura. Sasuke-kun, you're all right. Sakura was shocked and stood frozen when she saw Sasuke's eyes, still red from his tears. What happened, Sasuke? What's wrong? Naruto, what about Naru? She stood silent and tears began to generate in her eyes as she saw Naruto's fallen body, looking like a voodoo doll, stabbed and dead. You're pulling a prank, right, Naruto? She started to shake in sadness when she looked at him. Tazuna even started to produce tears. This is a joke, right, Naruto? She started to laugh in denial while she fell to her knees, breaking down. Naruto, she cried out in pure sadness, landing on his chest after being cut on the edges of her face from the needles sticking out. Speak, please, Naruto. No answers were heard, but she thought she felt him move. She gasped as she rose up and saw Naruto groaning, rising his head and chest, looking at the once crying Sakura, and rubbed his head. I didn't know you were that heavy, Sakura-chan. Tears of happiness now flowed down her face as she rushed at Naruto, not caring about what he said, and embraced him. Naruto, you're alive. You're alive. Sasuke was surprised by the outburst, but then he heard something that made him turn around instantly. Sasuke-kun, Naruto's alive. Sasuke's eyes widened upon hearing that, turned around to see a sheepishly grinning Naruto that was up with needles all around his body. Naruto noticed Sasuke's eyes were red from tears and grinned. Hey Sasuke, were you worried about me? Sasuke turned red in embarrassment, causing both of his teammates to laugh. Shut up, dope. He turned away so no one would see him smile in relief that Naruto wasn't dead. Naruto looked to see Gato kicking Haku and Zabuza not saying anything. He rushed toward Zabuza, surprising his sensei, and yelled, Why are you letting him do that? Brat, Haku is dead. He was there for you. He is just a tool to you. He called you master and followed you. You were his precious person. And don't lie, Zabuza team, he's yours as well. Naruto said with tears as Zabuza yelled, Brat. Naruto looked to see the openly crying Zabuza. Say no more and give me a kunai. Zabuza was taking his bandages off with his teeth and Naruto lightly smiled, tears still in his eyes as he tossed the kunai into the air toward his former enemy. Sure. Zabuza took it fiercely in his mouth and rushed forward, scaring Gato to hit among his hired men. Attack him, Gato yelled as his men charged forward to the demon. Zabuza's strikes fiercely killed most of the hired men while they stabbed him with many weapons only for Zabuza to stab Gato in the heart, crimson life hitting Zabuza's chest. See you in hell, Gato. Zabuza smirked devilishly as he pushed Gato over the bridge into the rushing water, turning around and looked sadly at Haku. He moved slowly before collapsing in the middle of the bridge. The hired men then ranted about flooding into the village, which caused Naruto to make a series of hand signs. Wind release. Kaze no erasure. All of a sudden, all of the wind tore through the crowd of hired thugs, signaling their cries of agony. Naruto merely looked in relief when they all were dead as he fell over, hearing his name being called. He closed his eyes, ready to rest. Triple X. Naruto awoke and figured out that the bridge was built and that they would be leaving. Naruto smiled sadly. He was starting to grow attached to the people of Nami no Kuni. He would definitely visit again. He got a tearful goodbye from Inari, a proud thanks from all the villagers, a kiss from Tsunami, which shocked everyone, made Naruto blush and Sakura mad with unknown jealousy. The last to say goodbye was Tazuna, who surprised Naruto by telling him the name of the finished bridge, the Great Naruto Bridge, and telling him of his already new project that he personally wanted to do. rebuild Uzushiogekure. He even handed Naruto a scroll he found, remembering Naruto was an Uzumaki, saying it was rightfully his. Naruto put it up, cried happily, hugged the old man, and waved goodbye as he and his team left Nami no Kuni, all smiling and prepared for what was next. Chapter 7. The Scroll of the Uzumaki. Naruto awoke, putting on his orange jacket and pants as he yawned. He adjusted his headband on his forehead, smiled at his reflection in the mirror as he raced out the door, now grinning. All right, it's time to train. Naruto cheered as he raced to the training grounds, moving like the wind, swift and elegant. Triple X. So, that's how the mission went. The third Hokage asked Kakashi, who nodded. The third Hokage adopted a serious face and looked deeply at Kakashi. How is Naruto doing? Ah, he's doing all right. He just had to go see what remained of Uzushiogekure, and he ended up breaking down and crying. The bridge builder then decided to rebuild Uzushiogekure for Naruto's service to Nami no Kuni. He found a scroll and gave it right to Naruto for him to keep. The Hokage sighed and smiled lightly and thought, "All right, Kakashi, you may leave." "Very well, Hokage-sama," Kakashi said before disappearing from the office. The third sighed and looked out to the village as he smiled. "It looks like the Chunin exams are coming soon, in about a month. I hope with all my heart that you show everyone everything you've got, Naruto." He took a smoke of his pipe and let the smoke out into the room. After all, it may be your last chance to be alive. Triple X. Naruto reached the training grounds as the scroll he got from Tazuna seemed to drop onto the grass with a light and soft plop. Naruto looked, and his eyes widened when he saw the scroll on the ground and handled the scroll. He touched it, looking at the intricate swirl patterns all along the scroll's exterior, and hesitated in picking at the top of the scroll where he could open it up. The scroll may have been of little height, but it was very wide and probably full of earlier jutsu or history of the Uzumaki clan. It made Naruto grin and shake in anticipation. It just made him so excited, but he'd have to be careful. This scroll looked decently old, at least 50 or 60 years old, but still in excellent condition for a scroll of its age. He fingered the tiny corners sticking out, teasing him to rip it and look into the scroll, but Naruto knew he had to be focused, not giving in to temptation. He picked at it with curiosity and began to peel the scroll very delicately. If anyone saw Naruto doing this, they would have their jaws to the floor in shock. They wouldn't believe the hyperactive ninja of the academy was actually not eagerly opening a scroll that could contain secrets to his family or jutsu that he could learn with practice. He was still trying to get it open, only having part of the huge yet short scroll unraveled until he decided to look at it bit by bit and learn as he went. The first thing that appeared was a sealing technique as Naruto scratched his head at it. He knew he heard Kakashi say that the Uzumaki were specialized in Fuin jutsu, so this must be a scroll of sealing techniques. This first one was the dead demon consuming seal, though. As he read, he figured out that the technique couldn't be used by Jinchuriki. The scroll never said why, though, which confused Naruto. He wouldn't try that jutsu, so he moved the scroll's flap over to see what was next. The next thing was actually a jutsu called Shuriken Shadow Clone Technique. Naruto read the description of the technique, his eyes widening at the fact that the third Hokage made this technique. Then, why was a scroll from Uzushiogekure holding it and its abilities? Naruto thought. But remember that Uzushiogekure was an ally of Konohagakure, so sharing jutsu and scrolls could have happened often. Though knowing the third, why would he just give away everything about a jutsu he invented and mastered, even if it was to an ally? After all, an ally could have easily turned into an enemy at the flick of a wrist. Nevertheless, Naruto shrugged his shoulders and decided to practice the jutsu as he made the hand signs in order. Ram to rat, rat to bird, bird to boar, and from boar to tiger. He then threw a shuriken only for nothing to happen at all. This made Naruto angry and frustrated. He then decided to throw the shuriken and do the hand signs afterward. Naruto snatched a single throwing star from his shuriken hoister and threw it toward a set of trees. Naruto flipped through the hand signs, ram to tiger, before staring intently at the shuriken that he threw. Shuriken Shadow Clone Technique. With the exceedingly large amount of chakra took into the technique like he always did, He had thousands of shuriken appear beside the one, stabbing the entire forest of trees. The shuriken continued to bite at the trees, which made Naruto widen his eyes in surprise and grin in triumph at completing a jutsu. After all, that's what everyone does when they accomplish a jutsu. Well, what happened next to Naruto didn't always happen to those who completed a jutsu. He fell to the ground, exhausted and huffing out air. He still had a goofy smile on his face as he clenched a fist with the hand he held in front of his face. He decided to relax and look through the scroll to see what other jutsu he could learn after recovering his chakra from that last one. Next was another seal in the shape of a spiral that looked interesting, but Naruto couldn't understand it at all. He would have to ask Kakashi or the third if they know any masters of Fuinjutsu, or even a little on seals to tell him about these seals. More seals kept popping up in the hefty scroll, frustrating the blonde genin that he couldn't learn these seals. Some of them looked like paper seals that could be attached to kunai knives, or even shuriken, while others looked complicated and made Naruto's brain throb at the complex symbols. Maybe if Naruto learned about seals, he could learn more about the seal on his stomach that contained the Kyuubi in order to use its powers to his advantage. Another jutsu that surprised Naruto was one he thought he heard of before, the Flying Thunder God technique, a jutsu that involved a seal wrapped around a kunai in order to teleport instantly to that spot. Naruto thought as he reached an epiphany on whose technique this was. This was the fourth signature jutsu, my father's. This confused Naruto even more. Why would a scroll containing a jutsu crafted by the third and one of the fourth signature moves be in Uzushiogakure? He read on nonetheless and looked at a technique that an Uzumaki was able to do with their chakra. It interested Naruto with how cool it was. It was the ability to make their chakra into chains that were able to attack and defend. He wondered if he could do that at some point since he was an Uzumaki. The other jutsu were some wind-release jutsu like how it can be used on kunai knives, shuriken, and blades to make them even deadlier than before, and one called wind release. Great breakthrough. It made Naruto just want to dig into it and learn these jutsu until he spotted Sasuke and Sakura approach him. He quickly sealed up the scroll and stashed it into one of his pouches as he got up and ran to his teammates. "Hey," he yelled as he waved and then stopped in front of them. "Why are you guys here? I thought we had the day off. Kakashi called us down here and we couldn't find you anywhere when he told us to get you." Sasuke replied, to which Sakura nodded. "That is correct." Everybody turned at the voice as they saw an eye-smiling Kakashi who just closed his Make-Out Paradise book and stashed it into his pocket. He pulled out 3 slips of paper, handing them out to each of his students. "What is this, Kaka-sensei?" Naruto said, looking at the paper and scratching the back of his head. "Well, it just so happens that the Chunin exams are coming up and I just allowed you guys to enter them. Those are just consent forms to make sure that you will go to the exam," Kakashi said, and his eyes widened as a blur of orange rushed at him and hugged him tightly. "I love you, Kaka-sensei," Naruto exclaimed as Kakashi's sweat dropped at his student's action. "Naruto," Kakashi said fiercely as Naruto looked up at him, smiling. "What, Kaka-sensei? Get off me before I unleash the 1,000 years of death upon you again." A dark look from Kakashi pierced Naruto. "I'm pretty sure you would not like that very much." Naruto quickly got off him, shivering in fear of that technique. "Oh, and Naruto," Kakashi said, which got Naruto's attention back onto him. "The third would like to see you at his office. He wants to talk about that scroll and its contents. Knowing you, you've looked through that scroll like it was a bowl of ramen to gorge through." Naruto nodded as Kakashi disappeared and Sasuke went on his way, smirking in thought of the exams, while Sakura moved slower, unknowing of her abilities. Naruto noticed this and went to her. "Sakura." Sakura turned quickly to look at the whiskered face of her teammate. "What's up? You look down." Sakura sighed. "I'm not strong like you and Sasuke-kun. I don't know any really useful jutsu besides the academy, and the exam happens in a week. I feel like I'm going to drag the team down." "Sakura, you have really good chakra control, and if you really focus, you can decipher Jinjutsu easily. If you find some Jinjutsu and stuff that involves great chakra control, it might help you," Naruto said, scratching the back of his head. He heard Kakashi say this before, so he thought he should tell Sakura that to bring her spirits up and help her improve. Sakura's eyes widened and she smiled with joy as she ran and hugged Naruto on impulse, causing Naruto to blush. Thanks, Naruto. She quickly let go and ran to the library, waving goodbye to Naruto. See ya. Yeah, see ya, Naruto yelled, waving back until Sakura vanished from his sight. That's when Naruto decided to run to the third Hokage and tell him about the scroll. Triple X. The third Hokage sighed. Oh, how I hate you, paperwork. He glared at the papers on his desk as he signed the mission reports, including the one from Kakashi and his team. He perked up a little when he heard knocking at the door. Hopefully, it's Naruto-kun. Come in. The door opened, and the person behind the door was revealed to be the very person he hoped it would be, Naruto. Ah, Naruto-kun, how are you doing? It seems you've been busy with your missions and training. Aji-san, Naruto exclaimed and proceeded to tell the tale of the wave mission, only in his point of view. That meant plenty of Sasuke being weak and worshipping Naruto, Sakura exclaiming how cool Naruto was on the mission and proceeding to make out with the boy, and Kakashi claiming sadly that he no longer had anything to teach him. He also claimed that all of Nami no Kuni bowed and worshipped him like he was Kami himself. The third Hokage chuckled at Naruto's imaginative interpretation of the mission and smiled at the boy. Once the boy was done, the Hokage set his pipe down, smoke no longer coming out of it. So, Naruto, tell me of this scroll you acquired that was in the remains of Yuzushiogakure. Naruto pulled the wide scroll from his back pouch and set it in front of the elderly Hokage, on the desk that held the paperwork the Hokage had just completed, to the Hokage's joy. The Hokage took the flap in the scroll and began unraveling the scroll, looking at the jutsu and secrets it held on its insides. The first one was the seal used by the fourth Hokage to seal part of the Kyuubi inside himself. The third knew and could use the technique since the fourth told him how to do it and talked of the Shinigami, the death god that only the user and the person being sealed can see. The third knew the technique would be a last resort to any shinobi, but it was a great technique to catch one off guard and seal away even the most powerful of enemies. It would cost your life as well, though. The technique wasn't well known at all, so it wouldn't be anticipated at all. He flipped to the next page of the scroll and looked at the next technique only for his eyes to widen in shock. Shuriken Shadow Clone Technique. The Sarutobi thought in shock that his jutsu was in an Uzumaki scroll. How could this be inside this scroll? Unless... He decided to look only to see different seals like a spiral seal, a bunch of ones that could be attached to ninja weapons, and he continued to look. He was once again shocked when another jutsu reared its head at the Hokage. It was the Flying Thunder God technique, one of the fourth signature jutsus up there with the Rasengan. There was also information on the chakra chains that Kushina used and a detailed description of an attack a Biju, a tailed beat, could do. The one attack the Rasengan was modeled after, the tailed beast bomb. The third then saw some more Fuinjutsu like the four-symbol seal that was on Naruto, the reverse four-symbol sealing technique, the 8-trigram sealing style, and the 5-element seal. He knew that Orochimaru knew of the 5-element seal, just as Jiraiya knew the seal and how to unseal it. He wondered if Naruto would excel in Fuinjutsu like Jiraiya, Minato, Kushina, and most of the members of the Uzumaki clan had. The Sarutobi himself knew quite a bit about Fuinjutsu, not as much as Jiraiya or Minato granted, but he could definitely figure out and create different seals and how they reacted. He knew he would have to have somebody help Naruto with seals since it looked like the boy was interested in everything in this scroll. It was like it was the will of his parents to learn everything from this scroll. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked and even saw the concept of this Rasen Shuriken Jutsu, modeled after the Rasengan Minato created in that it now held a wind release property. There was also the smaller wind release, Rasengan, right beside the Rasen Shuriken. This looked incomplete, however, so he hoped Naruto could eventually learn them for his father's sake. He looked at Naruto, who was sitting and actually snoring and sleeping, making the Hokage chuckle. He must have been working on the Shuriken Shadow Clone technique and used too much chakra for the technique. He knew the boy couldn't do Fuinjutsu yet, so the most logical thing was that the boy practiced that jutsu. The third continued to look at the scroll, wondering about what else it could contain. He found the space-time barrier and contract seal Minato could use. It seemed the scroll mostly held techniques of Naruto's parents, and some Fuinjutsu the Uzumaki used. Then, he saw a familiar name on the last page, the man who recorded the jutsu in the scroll. His eyes widened when he saw the name was Namikaze Minato. He remembered the trip the fourth and Kushina took to Nami no Kuni, and how the fourth felt like he dropped a scroll or something. It was luck that Naruto had brought this scroll here and that another village didn't discover the secrets of the yellow flash. The third looked at the picture of the fourth, looking seriously back at him. He sighed, rolled the scroll up until it was sealed closed, and walked toward Naruto as he gently put his hand onto Naruto's shoulder. "Naruto, wake up," he said as he gently shook the genin up and gave him the scroll when he opened his eyes. "You figure out everything about the scroll?" Naruto asked as the Hokage smiled kindly and nodded, rubbing Naruto's hair with his hand. Naruto put the scroll into his back pouch as he got up and looked at the smiling Hokage. "Aji-san, do you know someone who knows Fuinjutsu? Do you? I really want to know how to craft those seals since they may be my family's only remaining scroll of jutsu other than what's buried beneath the pillars." The third knew exactly who could teach Naruto before the Chunin exams and help afterward as well. He just needed to find him, which wouldn't be hard if he was in the village. "I have somebody in mind, Naruto-kun, but while I find him, go to waterway right by the hot springs on the edge of the village and do the water surface walking practice." He wrote notes of what to do on a piece of paper. "Here are the details of the exercise. To channel a constant stream of chakra out of your feet and uses repellent force to walk across the water's surface. It is harder than the tree walking exercise, but you may be able to master it quicker since your chakra control has excelled." Naruto smiled at the praise and rubbed the back of his head, chuckling as he was embarrassed a little. "All right, Aji-san. See you later." Naruto rushed out the door and ran to the waterway where he could practice as the third chuckled and put on his hat. He wore a new serious expression. "Time to go find that perverted student of mine. Triple X." Naruto was wet, completely wet. The water soaked his jacket, pants, and shirt as he decided to take them off. Luckily, he decided to take his pouches off before doing the exercise on the water. He decided to do it again, this time finally being able to master the water walking technique right after he tried it a few times. He whopped and hollered in achievement before he kept on doing it to the point where he could do it automatically without channeling chakra. As Naruto was trying this, a perverted chuckle could be here a while away, coming from a tall man with long spiky white hair flowing down his back. His forehead protected said oil as it was horned. The third approached the man, sighing at what the man was doing. "So, how have you been, Jiraiya?" the third asked, smoking his pipe as the man rose to his feet and looked behind him to see his former sensei. "Sarutobi-sensei," Jiraiya said with a surprised voice. "I didn't think you would search me out here in the village. Is something up that you wanted to talk about?" "It's about Naruto." When these words flowed out of the old Hokage's mouth, Jiraiya grew a serious look. "What happened?" "He has unlocked the Namikaze bloodline and has found a scroll that Minato wrote in the remains of Uzushiogakure." Jiraiya was shocked at what he heard from his sensei's mouth. When did Naruto go to the remains of Uzushiogakure? He was on a C-rank to A-rank mission in Nami no Kuni. It was an escort mission that Naruto and his team went on to guard this bridge builder. It turned out that Gato wasn't wanting the bridge to be built and sent enemy ninja to kill Tizuna and stop the building of the bridge. The Great Naruto Bridge is what it is called now. One such ninja was Momochi Zabuza of the Hidden Mist. This made Jiraiya's eyes widen a bit. Naruto's team was able to defeat Zabuza and his accomplice Haku, who was of the Yuki clan. "Who is Naruto's team and sensei?" Jiraiya asked, wondering who was able to defeat an elite shinobi like the demon of the Hidden Mist. "His sensei is Hitaki Kakashi and his teammates are Uchiha Sasuke and Haruno Sakura. They're a lot like Kakashi's and your teams." Jiraiya's eyes widened at this. It's as if fate loves to tear people apart. Jiraiya chuckled sadly. After all, both of those teams were tore apart. Kakashi's was torn by the death of Uchiha Obito, while Jiraiya's was torn by the defection of Orochimaru. It seems this team got along better when Naruto revealed about the Kyuubi and his heritage. Jiraiya was shocked when his sensei told him this. "He knows?" Sarutobi only nodded as Jiraiya sighed. Does he know anything about me teaching Minato and being his godfather? The Hokage shook his head. I thought it would be best for you to come and tell him yourself. Jiraiya looked at his sensei and thanks. Thank you, sensei. Where is he now? He's actually training not far from here. It seems he was more of Minato's genius than I thought. He just doesn't know how to control his chakra as well as most shinobi do. If he masters chakra control and learns to control the Kyuubi's chakra like Minato wished, then he could become the strongest shinobi that ever lived. Jiraiya walked toward Naruto's location. He better be, since the Akatsuki could move at any moment. Is Orochimaru still with them? Sarutobi asked, wondering of his former student. No, it seems he's on the move. Jiraiya spoke to his sensei, turned, looked out toward Naruto's location. I think it has to do with the Chunin exams approaching in a week. That must mean he's after something, and I might teach Naruto some things before the exam. You only have a week, though, the third said to his student. I can teach him before the third phase of the exams. That's a month of training. I might teach him some wind release jutsu and the summoning jutsu. Maybe even teach the boy the Rasengan, or at least part of it. After all, he is Minato's son. I agree, and if you can, help him learn the making of seals since he has a scroll full of them. Sarutobi said as Jiraiya's eyes widened in realization. That scroll Minato thought he lost was found with all the notes and his and Kushina's techniques. The elderly Hokage nodded as Jiraiya smiled. It must have been fate that it landed in Naruto's hands. The Hokage chuckled before he vanished. Maybe, Jiraiya, maybe. Jiraiya looked through a bush at his student's son and legacy as the boy was walking on water like an expert. He must have been walking on water for an hour or so. He already has it almost mastered. Though that is still a basic in ninja training compared to elemental training, but thanks to his bloodline, he already has an adept mastery for wind release jutsu. Jiraiya walked out of the bush and smiled at the boy who had his back turned toward him. Ah, so you learned how to walk on water, Agaki? Naruto turned to look at the stranger, and his eyes widened in shock at the tall man. Who are you? Jiraiya chuckled inwardly, but he looked fiercely at Naruto on the outside. You impudent whelp, you don't even know my name. I am the most powerful and most dashing man to ever grace the land of shinobi. I am the legendary Toad Sannin of Mount Myaboku. Whenever girls hear my name, they faint from how awesome and ravishing I am. One of the Sannin of Konohagakure, Lord Jiraiya the Gallant, is here. Naruto looked dully at the man and sweat dropped as he looked at the goofy elder before him. Never heard of you, Ero Sennin. Jiraiya's sweat dropped and face faulted at Naruto's statement. You baka, Ugaki, you can't even comprehend the magnitude of my power. I could crush you like a bug with my sandals right now. Just go away, old man. Naruto yelled rudely at the Sannin, who looked like he was about to walk away. All right, Jiraiya said with a grin. And I was going to help you master the jutsu of Minato and Kushina Namikaze, but it looks like sadly you won't let me. Naruto froze from fear at knowing this might be an enemy of his father that the third told him about. He made a hand sign and allowed the wind to surround him like a bubble. How do you know my father? Naruto's tone was fierce like a growl of a Biji. Jiraiya turned and looked at the son of his student and saw the eyes of Minato, the eyes of a genius in the making. He saw the face of the beautiful Kushina, a talented kunoichi. This boy. Don't worry, Gaki, Jiraiya said, smiling kindly, making Naruto stop the wind and look at Jiraiya confused at the man. I was a student of the third and the teacher of the fourth, your father. I'm one of the legendary Sannin of Konohagakure, Jiraiya the Gamma Sannin, the Toad Sage. I can help you master the jutsu and that scroll and more. Naruto's mouth widened into a fierce grin. His eyes were pools of determination. Then, let's get to it, Gamma Sannin. Jiraiya laughed as he looked at the face of his new student. Yes, Gaki, let's get to it. Chapter 8. The week before the exam. Naruto huffed out air as flickers of purple flames danced on the fingers on his right hand and flickers of blue flames were dancing on the fingers of his left hand. He grinned in triumph as he snickered, moving quietly to his teacher. His teacher was the Gamma Sannin Jiraiya, who was looking at all the beauties in the hot springs, giggling perversely as Naruto unknowingly was behind him. 5 elements seal. Naruto rushed his hand into Jiraiya, who was shocked by the thrusting hand. He turned just to see Naruto, grinning devilishly at his sensei before shoving another hand onto Jiraiya. 5 elements unseal. Jiraiya was pushed back a tiny bit before looking at his grinning apprentice. Well, Ero-Sennin, what do you think? Jiraiya smiled and rubbed the boy's hair affectionately. Well done, Gaki. You've completed seal and how to unseal it in case you meet a ninja that knows that technique and uses that technique against you. Now we can focus on something way better. Naruto looked excited at his sensei, jumping up and down. What's next? What's next? What's next? Jiraiya pulled out a scroll and a set of ink and a feather pen. Calligraphy, Jiraiya exclaimed as everything went quiet quickly afterward. What? Naruto yelled in rage at his teacher and pointed a finger at him. That's not exciting at all, Ero-Sennin. What's exciting about writing? Jiraiya was fuming. You insolent Gaki, how dare you call writing not exciting? Writing is my passion. Naruto had a deadpan look on his face. I thought peeking was your passion, pervert. I'm a super pervert, not a pervert. I told you this already, kid. Is there really a difference? Naruto's sweat dropped at the Sannin, who looked like he was going to blow his top as he said these words. A big difference, the Toad Sage yelled angrily at his disciple. Anyway, how are you a writer? Jiraiya pulled out a book that read Ica Paradise on the cover, and Naruto's face grew twisted at the book. This is the masterpiece of literature that I write. This is what I live for, he laughed out loud to the world. That, Naruto said, shaking and pointing at the book Jiraiya held. Oh, so you know of this book? Well, it is popular. Now bow and apologize to you, mighty teacher, Gaki. You now understand that I'm a literature god. That book is nasty. No wonder you wrote, Ero-Sennin. Only you would think of that kind of trash. How dare you insult my masterpieces, you Gaki? I think I won't train you now. Jiraiya started to turn away. Wait, that Ica Paradise is pretty awesome. It's like the gift of Kami. I hate rude men more than anything. Compliments will not get you anywhere. Jiraiya reared back at the boy. I am a Sannin. You'll have to try better than that. Looks like I have no other choice. Naruto thought seriously as he made a hand sign. I'll have to use that technique. Jiraiya looked at the boy's seriousness and knew something was coming as he secretly smirked. Heh, show me what you've got, Naruto. Sexy technique. Smoke appeared around Naruto as Jiraiya wondered what this technique was. How do you like me now, Jiraiya-sama? A female with blonde hair styled into 2 pigtails and beautiful cerulean pools as eyes spoke as her body was covered by a cloud of smoke. I love you, Jiraiya exclaimed as the female had a deadpan expression. He's such an idiot. The female Naruto thought as Jiraiya was in heaven, in nirvana. What jutsu is this? You're a genius, kid, Jiraiya exclaimed happily. Normally, Naruto would be happy at being called a genius, but this time was one where he didn't want to be the genius Jiraiya thought he was. The female Naruto still had that same expression on her face. I call it sexy technique. What creativity. You're a genius, kid. Genius. Naruto was sweat-dropping now at Jiraiya proclaiming he was a genius. I feel all adults are very weak against this jutsu. He remembered how he got many others with this technique. Naruto turned up the juice as he put a finger on his lips. Only they were the lips of his female transformation, and sparkling diamonds appeared around her as her eyes were that of a puppy's eyes, innocent and cute. So you'll help with my training? The voice as cute and attractive as it got Jiraiya under their spell. Yes, but there's one condition. Jiraiya spoke as the feminine Naruto upped the charm. What condition? The female Naruto asked as the bloody-nosed Jiraiya turned and then looked back at his student with a perverted look on his face. You have to stay like that the entire time we are training. Once those words were uttered, Naruto stopped the jutsu, glared at his sensei, and their fighting resumed. I knew it, you pervert. You won't train me at all. I told you already, Gaki. I am a super pervert. Just shut up and teach me. How dare you talk to me like that, you baka? You don't know what I'm capable of. Right back at ya, Ero-Sennin. Don't call me that, Gaki. To you, it's the Gama-Sennin Jiraiya-sama. Oh yeah, I'll worship you, great Gama-Sennin Jiraiya-sama. The genin's words laced with sarcasm. That's more like it. Wait, how dare you use sarcasm on me? I'll teach you a lesson, Gaki. Bring it on, Arobaka. Jiraiya rushed at Naruto, who did a hand sign. Multiple shadow clone technique. Thousands of Narutos surrounded Jiraiya, who was surprised a little, and he smirked. The boy's pretty good with shadow clones, eh? Show me what you got, Gaki. Naruto and his clones grinned devilishly and made a hand sign. You asked for it, Arrow Sennin. Harem technique. Puffs of smoke filled the air around the two, shocking Jiraiya, wondering what was happening. Oh, Jiraiya-sama, we love you. Jiraiya was in heaven. He was surrounded by thousands of female Narutos. He couldn't take all the sexiness and ended up passing out via a nosebleed and held a perverted grin on his face. All the clones vanished to reveal a male Naruto glaring at his teacher. That's what you get, Arrow Sennin. Triple X. I wonder what the village of Kanahagakure is like. A sand kunoichi with 4 blonde pigtails thought as she held a giant fan on her back. The boy beside her had a weird cat ear hood over his head as face paint covered his face, and a cylinder-like shape was wrapped in wrapping that were like bandages. He had a grin on his face. Iwai Temari. Remember the mission? The blonde kunoichi then remembered. Right, Kankuro is right. I can't forget about the mission. If any of you forget the mission, spoke a redhead with a gourd on his back, I'll kill you. The two shivered. Gaara's creepy. All right, there's Sensei, Baki, spoke, as his turban blocked the left part of his face. Let's get going. Right, Baki-sensei. Kankuro and Temari replied as they raced toward Kanahagakure, home to the Chunin exams. Triple X. A man appeared with snake-like eyes and long black hair. He suddenly looked at the genin before him. Kinuta Dosu, who had bandages around his head except his left eye and an amplifier on his right arm, was in the lead, his snake-like scarf blowing in the wind. Abumizaku was next with his smirk in place, his spiky black hair being held in the air. Lastly, Tsuchi Kin, a kunoichi with long black hair that flowed in the breeze, her eyes coals like Sasuke's. The snake man chuckled darkly. Time to go. All right, Lord Orochimaru. The three said in unison as they ran toward Kanahagakure. Orochimaru chuckled even more. Let's see if you're ready for me, Uchiha Sasuke-kun. Sarutobi-sensei. The four rushed forward, leaving the village of Otogakure in the dust. Triple X. I can feel it. I've gotten stronger. Sakura thought, huffing and smiling at what she had done. By looking at books at the library, she found out with intense chakra control, the legendary Sannin Tsunade was able to focus chakra into her hands in order to produce monster strength. She also used chakra control to use medical ninjutsu. What Sakura had done was pounded a tree down with a few blows. It wasn't as strong as Tsunade's strength, but it definitely rivaled Might Guy, the best taijutsu expert in Kanahagakure. Sakura also used the books to learn medical ninjutsu and found it to come easy to her, enabling her to heal weak wounds and cuts easily. She sat on the grassy ground and relaxed as her body felt weak from all the chakra she used. Wait till you see what I can do, Sasuke-kun. Naruto. Triple X. Sasuke flashed through hand signs, fire release, great fireball technique. The giant fireball flew above the water until it vanished into small embers, and Sasuke huffed out his breath, losing his Sharingan from the amount of chakra he used training, his coal eyes replacing them for now. Sasuke glared as he sat on the deck above the pond that he trained on. He remembered Naruto and his goofy smile. How he hated that carefree smile. What did Naruto know about him? I need to get stronger, Sasuke thought as he looked at the pond, imagining his older brother, Itachi's face in place of where he saw his own. Or I won't be able to kill him. Sasuke glared at the image before kicking it, causing the water to ripple and the image to disappear. Triple X. A girl with brown hair styled into 2 buns twirled a kunai around and looked at her 2 male teammates with a smirk as one of her teammates with a bowl-cut hairdo spoke. Did you hear that all 3 rookie teams are in the Chunin exams this year? The kunoichi laughed as she threw her kunai, hitting the target while grabbing another and twirling it as well. No way. It must be some competition between some stubborn jounins to see which team is better. I don't think so, said the dude with a bowl cut, showing that he was wearing a green spandex suit. It seems that 3 of them are students of Hatake Kakashi of the Sharingan. The other boy had long dark hair and eyes of the Hyuga, smirking confidently. Sounds interesting. But in the end, spoke the girl as she threw the kunai at the target again, showing tens of kunais on that single target. You have to feel sorry for them when they face their fate. The Hyuga boy finished for the girl, smiling at what competition he could face. Triple X. Naruto began to make seals that he attached to his kunai and shuriken. He had come far in this week of training, being able to make paper seals of different kinds like explosive tags or chakra suppression seals. He learned these from Jiraiya and now kept a pouch of blank paper tags and a pen with ink with him wherever he went. He went as far as packing a few extra sets of ink to use just in case. The boy still had Kushina's personality, but also held the seriousness and thinking of Minato. He was a hybrid of the two, retaining qualities of both. The boy also learned wind release, great breakthrough during the week. The training wore him out. He was told by Jiraiya that he would learn how to summon toads, which got Naruto excited after the first part of the exam. The genin put his headband on his forehead and smiled at his reflection. He then looked at the framed pictures, one of him and Aji-san, the other of him and Irika-sensei. The next one held Naruto and the rest of Team 7, and the last one had the smiling faces of his parents. He smiled back at them. I'll make you proud, Tu-san, Ka-san. Naruto then grew a serious expression, decided against his orange jacket since it was cool out, and his jacket might make him hot, so he wore a navy blue Uzumaki spiral shirt with his dark orange pants. He rushed out of his house, locked the door, and rushed out to the place where the Chunin exams were being held, determined to show the world the Kaze no Erasure. Triple X. Konohamaru heard it from his grandfather as Moegi and Udon followed him, all of them wearing a pair of goggles. They ran throughout the village, trying to find their idol, Naruto, only to find a cute kunoichi with long pink hair flowing down her back. Hey, miss, they exclaimed, catching the girl's attention as she turned to them. They're academy students. I wonder what they want. Sakura thought as she smiled at them kindly. Hello, what are you guys looking for? Do you happen to know where boss is? Konohamaru asked, and Sakura noticed him as the Hokage's grandson. Boss? Who's this boss you are speaking of? Sakura asked the academy students. Konohamaru means to speak of Uzumaki Naruto-san. Udon, the glasses-wearing one, spoke to Sakura, whose eyes widened when she heard her teammate's name. Naruto is my teammate. Today is actually the day of the Chunin exams, so he should be coming this way soon, or he might be up ahead. All right, thanks, lady. Konohamaru yelled happily as he ran off, while Udon and Moegi said their goodbyes. Sakura waved goodbye and smiled at them and in thought. I wonder how Sasuke-kun and Naruto will react when they see my skills. Then, Sasuke-kun might want to date with me. She, after all, still crushed on Sasuke. She, then, heard a familiar voice scream and knew that it was Konohamaru. She put chakra into her feet and dashed in that direction to see 2 sand shinobi, one holding Konohamaru by his scarf. I hate little kids like you. Kankuro growled at the boy that ran into him. Moegi and Udon were pleading that the ninja would let their friend go. Time to learn your lesson, kid. He pulled back a fist and was about to punch the boy until he felt a presence before him that set Konohamaru down and grabbed him by his neck and lifted him up. Kankuro looked to see a blonde shinobi with a Konoha headband on his forehead. Temari stared in shock at the boy. How could this boy pick Kankuro off the ground? The boy had cold, ocean eyes as he looked at the puppet master. You shouldn't go picking fights with academy students when you can punch a genin like me. Sakura gasped and smiled widely at the blonde's appearance. Naruto. Naruto set Kankuro down, who glared at the boy and set his cylinder of wrappings on the ground before them. He glared at Naruto and then smirked. I'll show you how I fight punks like you, Konohagakure ninja. Kankuro, don't. Temari warned, but Kankuro ignored her. Prepare yourself, punk. Kankuro was about to reveal his puppet until a rock hit his hand, stopping him. He winced and glared at the raven-haired ninja in the tree. More punks. Don't make me come down there and destroy you. Sasuke glared at the puppet master, crushing the remaining rock in his hand. Kankuro reached for his puppet again, only to hear a dark voice. Kankuro, stop it. This shocked everyone there as they saw a red-haired shinobi in the tree. You're an embarrassment to our village. Kankuro shook a little. Gaara. Sasuke was surprised and shocked a little himself. He snuck there with skill of Kakashi-sensei. Starting a fight and losing control of yourself. How pathetic, Kankuro. Why do you think we came to Konohagakure? Gaara said calmly. Gaara, they started it, and Kankuro said, pointing at Konohamaru and Naruto. Shut up, Gaara spoke deadly and calmly, or I'll kill you. Kankuro shook uncontrollably in fear. I'm sorry. I am too. Gaara. Temari spoke as well. Gaara looked at Sasuke and then at Naruto. Sorry to you guys. He began to vanish. The blonde was able to catch Kankuro off guard and pick him up while the other one was able to hit Kankuro with that rock. They're both good. He must be the leader of the group. Sasuke thought, looking at him before lowering from the tree and landing by Naruto. It looks like it's almost time for the exam to begin. Let's get going, Gaara said as he turned away. Wait, Sasuke said, causing the sand shinobi to turn. What's your name? Temari blushed, thinking he meant her. You mean me? No, Sasuke said rudely. The guy with the gourd on his back. Gaara looked at him before speaking calmly. Sabaka no Gaara. Uchiha Sasuke. Sasuke replied, smirking at the redhead. Looks like I'm next, huh? Naruto smirked, approaching the sand genin. Temari looked closely at the blonde and blushed lightly. He's pretty cute as well. I'm Uzumaki Naruto, Naruto said, careful not to reveal his identity like he did to Zabuza back at Wave. He pointed at Temari, who blushed at the attention. Now you. Sabaku no Temari. Temari said, blushing lightly as Naruto smiled back at her. And I'm Sabaku no Kankuro. Kankuro said confidently at Naruto. Naruto stared at him blankly. I didn't want your name, but okay, makeup boy. Kankuro glared at the Uzumaki and barked out. It's war paint. Temari laughed at this while Gaara just stood there. Uzumaki Naruto, huh? Gaara said, staring at the whiskered ninja. I'll remember your name. I'll remember yours too, Sabaka no Gaara, and also, you Sabaka no Temari, Naruto said, causing Temari to blush again. You as well, Uchiha Sasuke, Gaara said calmly before they turned and left. Let's go. Sasuke smirked. Let's get going, Naruto, Sakura. Right, Sasuke-kun. Sakura rushed toward him while Naruto said goodbye to Konohamaru and his group. You coming, Naruto? Chunin exam, here I come. Naruto thought as he smiled at his teammates and rushed forward. Yeah, I'm coming. The sound ninja stayed in the tree, watching Team 7 head to the exam while Dosu spoke. So he's our target, Uchiha Sasuke. Chapter 9. Story of the Sharingan Eye. The Chunin exam starts. Naruto looked ahead, entered the building where the Chunin exam would take place, following his Uchiha teammate beside Sakura, his other teammate. Naruto looked seriously around as he looked ahead, seeing a group of various genin congregated. This puzzled Naruto as his team stopped to see a boy with a bowl-cut hairdo, wearing a green jumpsuit that clung to his body, was on the ground, his hand wiping his mouth before he got up. Naruto heard chuckling and looked to see two shinobi standing in front of the door to the exam. They both had amused and fierce looks in their eyes. The first one to speak had spiky hair and wielded two giant kunais on his back. You think that you're ready for the Chunin exams? The shinobi laughed. That's the best of your abilities, the power you wield. He looked fiercely at the genin on the ground. You're just a little kid, not even worth anyone's time. Indeed, the other one had his headband as a bandana with a bang of his hair hanging down his nose, smirking at the fallen ninja. The girl with buns in her hair approached the two. Just, please let us through. The spiky-haired one merely slapped the girl who fell onto her butt. One of the Konoha ninjas spoke out fiercely in a mutter, horrible. What was that? The spiky-haired genin said, looking at the Konoha shinobi, who shook in fear. The genin smirked. The other one looked at the spiky-haired one as he continued to speak. Listen, this is out of kindness. This is our kindness that we are showing. He looked seriously at everyone as he spoke, yet he still held a fierce smile. This exam isn't a picnic, It isn't easy at all. Even we have failed it 3 times straight. Some got through the exam and quit being shinobi. Some died during these tests. We've seen it all. Chunins often become leaders of groups of military. The failure of a mission, the death of a comrade, it all weighs on your shoulders as a Chunin. He looked seriously at them all without a single smile, freaking people out. That is a leader's responsibility, yet you kids think you can pass. It makes me laugh. He, then, adopted a fierce grin which shook people that couldn't stand the way he looked at them. We're just thinning out those who will fail anyway. Nothing's wrong about that. I agree, but I'm not weak. Everyone turned to the source of the voice to see a smirking Uchiha Sasuke, next to calm Uzumaki Namikaze's Naruto and attentive Haruno Sakura. You'll let us through since we can see through your jinjutsu. We're going to the 3rd floor. Everybody was looking at Sasuke. What's this guy talking about? I don't know, don't ask me. Eh. The spiky-haired guy laughed as he looked fiercely at the Uchiha. So, you noticed the jinjutsu? Eh. The other one said as Sasuke smirked at him. Of course, all of my team noticed it, but first was Sakura. Right. This got Sakura's attention as she looked at Sasuke. After all, your analytical abilities and knowledge of jinjutsu is most improved of our team. Sakura smiled as she looked at the 2 genin blocking the way that was to the exam. At least everyone thought it was. Thanks, Sasuke-kun. Sasuke, I don't know anything about jinjutsu. Naruto said out loud, scratching the back of his head, making everyone face fault to the ground. You dope. I was telling that to everyone so they wouldn't think we were easy pickings. Don't you understand? Sasuke yelled at his teammate who nodded and blushed a little in embarrassment, hearing people laugh at him. Oh well, just let us through, since we are on the 2nd floor. Sakura said as Naruto nodded, trying to seem smart when he already blew it. The sign that said 301 changed to 201 instantly, as the spiky-haired dude smirked and sent a kick Sasuke's way. Can you see through this though? Sasuke sent up a kick only for the down genin to get up and block both of their kicks, his eyes fierce. He let go of both of their legs as Sasuke looked at the boy's arm. He stopped my kick with just his hand. How was he able to do it? Sakura was shocked. He's fast, and he was able to see both kicks, go between them and block them from connecting. He's a lot stronger than he looked earlier on the ground. Naruto looked at the guy with big eyebrows that looked like full-grown caterpillars on his face and his bowl-cut hairdo. He's a lot stronger than he looks. Bushy brows. The Hyuga teammate of the boy sighed in irritation. What happened to the plan? You're the one that said we should draw attention to ourselves, and you just did it right now. The boy looked at Sakura and blushed lightly, unknown to her. Well, his 2 teammates caught this and sighed at what their teammate had done and for what reason. Sasuke looked at the boy and the girl teammate and was shocked a little. What happened to their injuries from those ninja? The boy with the bowl cut approached Sakura, who caught the attention of the boy. My name is Rock Lee and you're Haruno Sakura, correct? She nodded and that's when the boy winked, put his hand into a thumbs-up sign, and smiled brightly, a sheen coming off his set of teeth as if it was to blind everybody. Will you go out with me? I'll protect you with my life. Sakura had a deadpanned look on her face when looking at him, but recovered enough to say, no thanks. Naruto acknowledged the look of disappointment on Rock Lee's face as he put a hand on his shoulder and smiled when the boy looked up at him. Don't worry, I've tried to get her to go out with me, and I've seen her turn down people worse than she did you. Mainly to me, he said sadly, though he hadn't really asked Sakura out as much as he usually did. He was more focused on the scroll and his family. He began to see Sakura walk towards Sasuke, her hair waving around with her movements. He smiled sadly at her back and Rock Lee focused on him, recognizing the whisker marks on the boy's face. Ah, you must be Uzumaki Naruto, Lee said, surprising Naruto as he looked towards Sasuke, which means he's Uchiha Sasuke. Makes sense since you're with Sakura-chan. How did you know? Naruto asked as the boy smiled, teeth gleaming which freaked Naruto out a little. My sensei is the eternal rival of your sensei, Hatake Kakashi. I've heard him speak of you guys before. Lee exclaimed before Naruto nodded. It made sense. All right, see you later, bushy brows. Naruto said, waving at the ninja, who smiled and waved back. Naruto heard that this Hyuga wanted Sasuke's name and saw the bun wearing girl blush at Sasuke as Sakura started to pull Sasuke away from them, but noticed that Naruto was not there. She looked back to see Naruto looking at the Hyuga and his girl teammate, his fists clenched. Sakura wondered what was going on as she looked at him. He looked up at Sakura, shocked to see a little concern in her eyes. He smiled a fake smile, his mask covering his face as teams started to disperse. Head toward where the exams are. Sakura-chan, Sasuke. I need to do something. This confused them as Naruto pulled out a paper tag and a pen with a container of ink. He dipped the pen into the ink and started writing symbols on the sheet before smiling sadly at the paper, putting the ink up and seeing Sakura and Sasuke still there, staring at him. I told you guys you can go. He pulled up his shirt a little, but couldn't get it onto his chest. He sighed before looking at Sasuke and smiling. It looks like it's good that you're here. Can you put this on my chest? Sasuke sighed and approached his teammate, taking the seal and putting it onto his chest. What does this thing do, and what is it? Naruto chuckled and smiled lightly at his teammate. A secret for later. Sasuke glared at the blonde before approaching the confused Sakura. Let's go, Sakura. Okay, she said, looking at Naruto before saying something to him. Come on, Naruto. Naruto looked at Sakura and smiled at her as he chuckled. Yeah, I'm coming, Sakura-chan. He ran toward his teammates as Lee followed them, caught by the Hyuga teammate of his. What are you doing, Lee? Let me test something. Go on ahead, he said as he went toward Team 7. The two Genin that did the Genjutsu were smirking at each other. So those were Guy's and Kakashi's students, huh? Well, they passed the first unofficial test. The one with straight hair said as the spiky-haired one nodded before making a hand sign and releasing their transformation, revealing their true, older selves as they wore Chunin vests. These exams will be fun. The spiky-haired one smiled as he looked at his companion. Right, Izumo? For us especially, Kotetsu. The other one replied, smiling back. I can't wait to see the results. Triple X. You with the duck butt hairdo. Rock Lee shouted as Sasuke turned annoyed. At least I don't have a bowl cut like you. Sasuke yelled back as Rock Lee landed on the ground before them. What do you want? Fight me. Rock Lee said, putting up his hand only for Naruto to approach him. I don't want to face you, Naruto. All I want to do is face Sasuke. After all, I'm the strongest Genin of the village hidden in the leaves. Just get out of the way. All people want to face is the great Uchiha, huh? Naruto mocked Sasuke, who glared at him. I'll take him, Sasuke. Naruto's eyes were serious. What are you planning, dope? Why do you want to face him? Sasuke asked while Naruto smiled back at him. Because he reminds me of myself, Naruto said, making Sasuke wonder even more. Naruto merely smiled to himself. You'll see, Sasuke. Naruto charged in, no wind surrounding him whatsoever. Lee merely stood there, looking at his rushing opponent. Naruto made a series of hand signs, getting everyone's attention as he smirked, and he pulled out a kunai. He breathed wind nature chakra onto the knife as he did the same to a shuriken. He threw the kunai toward Lee and threw the shuriken a little afterward at where he thought Lee was going to run to. He cheered inwardly as he stabbed Lee's arm with a shuriken surrounded by wind nature chakra. Lee's eyes widened at the mark before he rushed at Naruto. Leaf Hurricane. He hit Naruto's face, causing him to land a ways off, standing up while Lee was shocked the boy got up so fast. Good thing I sparred a little with Arrow Sennin before the exam. My speed and taijutsu increased quite a bit, even if they could be a lot better. And Bushy Brows is exactly what type of shinobi I thought he was. A pure taijutsu user that increased his speed with training in order to strike people down a lot easier and catch people off guard. Sasuke team might have trouble facing him since the Sharingan would be able to copy his moves as easily. Naruto thought as he decided to let Sasuke and Lee duke it out. Lee just wants to test his abilities against a genius and doesn't care about me. They're underestimating me completely. Naruto smiled as he looked at the three ninja before him. That's perfect for me. I'll show them to never underestimate me. You can have a go, Sasuke, Naruto said, smirking, getting the Uchiha's attention. I don't think I could beat him anyway. Naruto knew that was true. The only way he could beat Lee was with a little bit of Kyuubi chakra from what he heard from Jiraiya. He wanted to face you after all. Sasuke smirked and charged into battle with Lee smiling. Show me the power of your clan, Uchiha Sasuke. Sasuke smirked. You've got guts to face me when you know my clan. Sasuke and Lee starting going at it with Sasuke relying on his Sharingan and Lee on his taijutsu as Naruto sat by the wall, sighing as he looked at the wall. He already knew Sasuke would lose. It didn't take an expert to see that. Naruto could tell that this Rock Lee was not a rookie like them and had to be training all day when he got a glimpse of his rough, trained hands. Naruto looked up to see Sasuke in the air with Lee below him. Naruto smirked when Lee told Sasuke that he was using only taijutsu against him and was about to finish it with a toy windmill was thrown by a summoned turtle to stop Lee. Naruto looked curiously at the summon. Who summons turtles? He knew Jiraiya summoned frogs, Orochimaru summoned snakes, and Tsunade summoned slugs since his sensei told him. He watched the turtle berate Lee and then found the answer. It must be Bushy Brow's sensei's summon. Sakura and Sasuke looked on with a creeped-out look as Naruto approached them from behind, standing beside Sakura. That must be Bushy Brow's teacher's summoning animal, he said out loud, getting his teammates' attention. How do you know that, Naruto? Asked the two, wondering. It's acting like a sensei to him, and I know of ninjas being able to summon creatures like the fourth summoned a frog to help seal the fox, and you know the Sennin use summonings too. I didn't see Bushy Brow summon him, so that's the only thing I can. Dear Kami, who is that? Sasuke and Sakura looked to see Might Guy and all his youthful glory. His teeth shined as Naruto's eyes widened, and he shook with fright. Let's get out of here, Naruto whispered harshly, seeing the sunset, wave-crashing image of youth pop up behind the hugging and openingly crying duo, calling each other's name with passion. They quickly rushed out of there and toward the testing area, leaving the youthful duo in their passionate hug displayed to all who passed there. Triple X. Phew, I'm glad we got out of there before we saw more, Naruto said, breathing heavily at escaping the two, and saw Kakashi waiting for them at the door. Oh, why? Kaka-sensei, why are you here? Kakashi looked at his students and I smiled like he always did. Yo, how are you guys? I just wanted to make sure you all got here, as even this test involves teamwork at some points. I also wanted to tell you guys the story of how I got this Sharingan, since it'll help you grow stronger individually and see a little bit of your own faults. He sighed and had a far-off, melancholy look in his dark visible eye. I had just become a Jonin when we were sent on a mission. After all, it was a time of war, the third great ninja war. I was like you, Sasuke, arrogant, but I was one to stick by the rules, and I thought that anybody that ignored the rules were scum because of my father dying. He ignored the rules and died for it. No, he killed himself. This shocked the genin as Kakashi continued. My father, the White Fang of Konoha, had a choice: continue the mission and risk the lives of his comrades that would surely die, or flee and save the lives of his comrades. My father chose the latter, and the village and the companions he saved cursed him for it. Because of that mission, my father's mind and body grew weak, and he took his own life because of the pain of feeling everyone was against him. That's when I decided to go by the rules and nothing else. My sensei, Namikaze Minato, Naruto's father and the fourth Hokage, told us to split after a while. He would fly solo on the front lines to this bridge that we would destroy to not allow IWA ninjas to gain supplies. I would command the group consisting of myself and my teammates, Rin and Uchiha Obito. Sasuke grew shocked at hearing his family name. Kakashi looked sadly at Naruto and Sakura. Rin was a lot like you, Sakura. This drew the Kunoichi's attention to the story more. She had amazing chakra control and was an adept healer, the support of our team as she stopped mine and Obito's fights. She even looked like you a bit, Sakura, but she had brown hair and bright brown eyes. Kakashi chuckled sadly at the memory as he looked at Naruto, who looked sadly back. Naruto could tell what Kakashi was about to say to him. Obito was just like you, Naruto. My father was too. He always put his teammates before himself, saying he would rather save his teammates than follow the rules. He even said that saying you loved so much back at the training grounds when we did the bell test. Those that break the rules and regulations are scum, but those who abandon their comrades are worse than scum. If I'm going to be called scum either way, I'd rather break the rules. And if that's not being a proper shinobi, then I'll destroy that idea. That's what he said when Rin was captured by enemy ninja when our sensei split from us. The ninja were looking for information about the village or our mission from her, but she had a strong will and never gave out information. While Obito, being Obito, went on his own to get Rin back, I stayed and thought about my father, Obito, Rin, in this situation. That's when I decided to think for myself and not rely on the rules to think for me. I met up with Obito as we battled these IWA ninja, and I lost my eye in battle to one of these IWA nin. Obito was able to awaken his Sharingan that he always boasted he would unlock and killed the ninja. We went on to find Rin and saved her only to be caved in by one of the IWA ninja left. I was about to run away, but a rock hit my injured eye, knocking me down. Obito saw this, ran over, and threw my body away from the rocks only for him to take the rocks full on, crushing the right side of his body. It was then that he gave me a gift for becoming a Jonin, like Rin giving me a medical kit and Sensei giving me his special kunai. He gave me his left eye, his Sharingan, saying that he could see the future with me even if he wasn't there. More IWA ninja came only for me to be knocked out right as I completed my jutsu, Chidori, 1,000 birds or lightning blade, with the aid of Obito's Sharingan. Minato-sensei saved me and Rin after I heard Obito tell me to promise him to protect Rin for him. After all, he loved her just like Sensei. Naruto yelled out, shocking everyone, his eyes pleading. He noticed them all looking at him, looking at the boy whose mask was starting to tear apart from these simple words. He started to cry intentionally and for real. After all, it made him wonder if that could happen to him and his teammates. That's a very sad story. Kakashi knew why Naruto stopped him. It was so Naruto didn't have to deal with Sakura and her harsh rejection or pleading words, apologizing just because he loved her and she did not. That her words and punches tore at him and his face, causing him to put up a mask to not take the pain full on. It still hurt, but he could fake it for a while. He had to fake it for all of the villagers after all. He could keep it up for a few years. Kakashi sighed sadly, drawing the attention of his Genin students. Yes, after all those precious to me are gone, like I said when I met you guys. I couldn't protect Rin, and Minato-sensei died protecting the village from the Nine Tails. He looked at his students' hardened and sad expressions as he sadly eye-smiled at them. But he drew their attention. You guys are turning into people precious to me. He eye-smiled happily as his team gasped and smiled at him, and he, their teacher, went up to each of them, ruffling their hair with his hands before he left. Good luck on your exam, guys. I'm going to pass, believe it, Kaka-sensei. Naruto exclaimed, causing Kakashi to chuckle as he looked back as they entered the door. Show them what you can do, Sakura, Sasuke, and Naruto. He turned, pulled out his favorite book, and walked as he read. Triple X. Naruto and the other two looked into the room as they entered to see a horde of ninja of all villages looking at them, glaring fiercely. They stood there, looking for anybody they knew. Little did they know, someone was approaching them at a fast pace, ready to pounce on them. Sasuke-kun. The voice was none other than Yamanaka Ino, a worshipper of Uchiha Sasuke, whose neck she was hanging on, much to the Kami's displeasure. It's been so long. I've missed you so much. Have you missed me? Back away, Ino pig. He's mine. Sakura yelled, causing Naruto to sigh. Sometimes Sakura could be worse than a horde of bulls seeing a red all over Konohagakure, causing an endless rampage of destruction and madness. Naruto put his hands in his pockets as he saw Shikamaru and Choji approach him, and he smiled lightly. Hey you guys, how have you been? Naruto asked, catching the attention of the female Yamanaka. Forehead, is that really Naruto? Ino asked Sakura, pointing at Naruto. Of course it is pig. Why did you think it wasn't? Sakura said to her friend as she got off Sasuke's back, much to the Uchiha's pleasure. He just seems smarter and calmer. How the hell did he change from that loudmouth, orange and ramen-obsessed academy student to a calm, yet playful shinobi? Ino asked her rival in love as she pointed at Naruto, who was hearing the conversation while catching up with Shikamaru and Choji. Naruto turned toward Ino, shocking her and making her blush under his intense gaze. Ino-chan. Naruto, Ino said softly as he approached her, a serious look in his calm cerulean eyes and a light-hearted smile hung on his face, making Ino blush a little more. Naruto then broke into a wide grin and yelled out, How have you been, Ino? Ino was shocked and confused. He was suddenly as serious, charming. Did she say charming? Shinobi, and then a happy-go-lucky ninja then next. It was like he had multiple personality syndrome. I've been okay. Naruto, she said quietly as she was still shocked by Naruto, who changed to his serious side, lightly smiling at her, unknowingly charming her, and other kunoichi that looked at his face as it resembled the fourth Hokage's. Good, he said softly at her, causing her to blush lightly as he turned away, and Sakura grew angry. Why did Naruto do that to Ino? It was like he was Sasuke-kun, being all calm and charming. Sakura thought as inner Sakura appeared and said something as well. Shinaro, he can do that to me anytime. This caused Sakura to blush like she was Hinata, and to her luck, no one caught her blush. Yahoo! Looks like everyone's here. Kiba exclaimed with Hinata Hyuga and Shino Aburame as he approached the rest of the Rookie Nine. Shino just stood quietly not talking while Sasuke smirked at Kiba. You seem raring to go, Kiba. Of course, I get the chance to show the world who's alpha around here. Who, me, Kiba? It most certainly isn't you. Kiba glared at the culprit who spoke those words until he smirked at him. Huh, so you think you're all that, Naruto? You have to remember back in the academy, you were the dead last. Kiba-kun, Hinata said lightly, twiddling her fingers. I was, Naruto said calmly with a smirk. Doesn't mean I can't whoop your ass. Kiba glared and was about to punch Naruto until he felt Hinata tug his sleeve and tell him not to. We'll see, dope. We'll see. He snorted and turned from the rookies, sitting against the wall. Naruto merely watched a ninja from Konoha approach wearing glasses. You guys might want to quiet down. Can't you see all the ninja glaring at you? They absolutely hate arrogant and annoying rookies. Sasuke eyed him cautiously. Why are you coming to us if we're so arrogant and annoying? What do you want from us? The ninja chuckled as he pulled out a deck of cards. I'm Yakushi Kabuto, and I know this exam pretty well since I failed it a few times. I also have these ninja info cards. Naruto smirked at Kabuto, looking at the cards. So, you stalk ninja so you can write down their abilities. You're such a creeper. This got most of the rookies to laugh and Sasuke to smirk. You're the kind of ninja that gets killed first, Kabuto said, eyeing Naruto. The one who jokes and irritates everyone. That's all that you are, Uzumaki Naruto. If you know info on Shinobi taking the exam, tell me the skills of Sabaku no Gaara and Rock Lee. Sasuke said, calmly looking at the shinobi. You know their names. That's no fun. Kabuto said as he looked and revealed the cards. Sasuke looking at them secretively. His eyes widened when he looked at Gaara's, and then gave it back to Kabuto. What else do you contain in those cards? Naruto asked. Just how many people are taking the exam like how Otoge-cure, a small, unknown village only has one team of ninja at the exam. Though most of the ninja here are from Konoha since the exam is located here. Kabuto answered Naruto. Apparently, we're from some minor village, Dosu chuckled evilly. Let's show that four-eyed freak how strong the Otonin can be so he can record that data. His two teammates nodded as they zoomed through the crowd and reached Kabuto, shocking almost everyone there. Dosu struck as Kabuto dodged the attack, smirking until his glasses broke and he puked, shocking everyone there. What kind of attack was that? Kabuto thought, feel nauseous. He must be using sound waves somehow through that thing on his arm. Quiet down, you fucking maggots. The first exam is about to begin. Ibiki Marino shouted as he appeared with a bunch of Chunin and Jonin spectators surrounding him. A written test. A man held a bunch of tests causing Naruto to freak out on the inside. A written test? You'll be given a number where you'll sit as you enter the room. Other than that, wait until everyone is seated, and I will say go when we're ready to start. Ibiki said as everyone picked a number and Naruto ended up next to Hinata. Good luck, Hinata, Naruto said while Hinata lightly blushed. You too, Naruto-kun, the Hyuga girl whispered to her crush as the proctor told them to start. The test was full of people gaining the answers by their secretive means like Sharingan, Byakugan, a summon, anything at their disposal. When the 10th question came around, a lot quit in fear of being a genin forever until Naruto had to shout out his thoughts about the question and made people gain a backbone and leading the rest to pass the first exam. This led to the self-proclaimed sexy mistress Mitarashi Anko to fly through the window like a demented banshee and led them loudly to the forest of death, the location of the second exam. Chapter 10. Clash in the Forest. The snake bastard is here. Naruto gulped, looking straight ahead of him into the dark, grim forest of death as he started to remember all his training, all that he saw before the exam, even before the bell test of Kakashi. Memories slid over Naruto's eyes, reminding him of how he was able to gain his wind jutsu easier. Triple X. Naruto eyed an elderly man in the middle of the forest that had a head of slightly spiky black hair and a scar on his chin. His eyes were dark like black holes, showing the years of war and of being a shinobi he had gone through. The man made a few hand signs as he breathed in air and released it into blasts of fierce air. Naruto's eyes widened in shock as he tried the jutsu for a while and eventually got it down, releasing the blasts of fierce air like the man did. The man looked in the boy's direction, almost like he sensed his presence near, and threw a kunai covered in the man's wind chakra, only for it to be caught by a shorter old man in Hokage robes. Hiruzen, the man said to the Hokage, who threw the kunai to the ground and looked at the other older man. Danzo, the third said softly while looking at the man. It seems you have gotten rusty from not using your ninjutsu in such a long time. You're going to become weaker and weaker and you don't train your body in order to keep up with your skills. Even I, the Hokage, take time to keep in shape at least a little to keep this village in order. Danzo was about to say he was busy, but he just glared at the Hokage. He couldn't say that. The Sarutobi might figure out something is up and find out Danzo still had his or root ninja forces even when the old Hokage disbanded the organization. It's just been a while, Hiruzen. Danzo spoke in his usual calm voice as he looked at his rival with a glare. I hear you have been privately speaking with the Yandame's legacy a lot lately, and that the boy has unlocked the Kekai Genkai of the Namikaze clan. He might even unlock things of his mother's like her special chakra. Special chakra? Naruto scrunched his nose in confusion. What was this special chakra that his Kasen had? We still don't know how well he has taken to all the news since he was just told recently. After all, he found out about his parents and the QB all in a matter of a few hours. It's a lot for a mere boy to take in at the moment, but he seems to be doing better and actually becoming more like himself again. The third smiled while Danzo scowled at him in anger. I could teach the boy a lot more than simple academy jutsu and shadow clones. With my help, I could teach Naruto to control his Kekai Genkai to mere perfection. After all, I am a wind release chakra user. Just hand the boy over to me, Sarutobi. The Hokage scowled the wind, breathing at his ropes. I know full well what you will turn Naruto into, an emotionless soldier at your command at every moment. I will not let the boy become the ace in your hand, Danzo. I already knew after what I had to do with all those soldiers that were under your command. Unknowingly, they were still with Danzo, supporting the tree that is Konoha as root. It's your loss, Sarutobi. It's the boy's loss. He was much potential. And lastly, it is Konohagakure's loss of a hero that could become a legend like his very father. Danzo began to walk away as he spoke his last words fiercely. Remember that, Hokage. Danzo spat out the word Hokage as he left the third, and Naruto went off as well, wondering what the two rivals meant when they talked. Triple X. Naruto opened his eyes when he felt something sting his cheek. Crimson life slowly drifted out of the shell he called a body as the proctor, Mitarashi Anko, was suddenly behind him, licking up his blood, and looked playfully into the young genin's eyes as the genin shook a little at what was happening to him. Keep your eyes open, Gaki, Anko said, still licking his blood, or this delicious blood will spoil and end up all on the ground of the forest. She then felt a presence near her as she drew her kunai, her tongue going back into her mouth, only to see a grass ninja approach with the kunai the proctor threw. I was just returning your kunai, proctor, the grass nin said sinisterly as Anko glared at the intruder that ruined her fun with the blonde Gaki, and she took the kunai. Thanks, Anko said as she disappeared from the still, slightly shaking Naruto, and was in front of the genin. You all know the rules, right? Your team will have a scroll in the forest for 5 days, and will have to find the opposite scroll from another team and reach the tower in time with all the members of your team intact. You also have to turn in these waiver forms in case you die that you hold in your hands right now. My last advice can only be just don't die. Naruto turned in his waiver and headed to the gate his team was at with Sasuke, holding the scroll in his pouch, and Sakura standing there, a little scared of the exam. Naruto grinned and looked at the gate before it opened. Time to show everyone the Kaze no Erasure. Naruto pulled out a mask from his pack and put it on as it was a simple blue mask, and he removed the paper seal from his chest. Now go! Anko yelled as the gates all opened and everyone charged in. The grass ninja all looked at each other. Go after the brats first. They all nodded in agreement and grinned as they rushed into the forest. Our mission officially starts, Dosu thought as he planned to get rid of their target right off the bat. Let's go, Naruto yelled, grinning behind his mask as Sasuke and Sakura were behind him. Why are you wearing that mask, dope? Sasuke said as Naruto turned around. Yeah, Naruto, Sakura yelled at her blonde teammate. There's no point to wear a mask when everybody knows who you are. They do not know of Kaze no Erasure though, Naruto said quickly, confusing his teammates. He sighed at their expressions. Don't worry about it. A rain ninja was perched in a tree, watching the team, waiting for a moment to get their scroll. He saw Naruto go to the restroom after being slapped by Sakura for when he said, I've got to piss. Baka, Sakura yelled as he disappeared into the trees to piss, and the rain ninja snuck from behind. The rain ninja stabbed Naruto with a kunai only for him to disappear into smoke, surprising the genin. His weird mouthpiece making a weird sound as he breathing increased in intensity. So, you were after the weakest link. Naruto asked as he was right in front of the ninja before he made a single hand sign, and the wind tore at the genin's body to leave no remains. You should have looked harder to find it. Sakura and Sasuke heard the screams of the ninja that Naruto killed and were wondering what had happened when Naruto rose out of the trees. He still had the mask over his face as he looked at his teammates. Well, his teammates won't like it when they find their teammate like that. They're out of the exam now. Sasuke looked at the two of them seriously. We need to be careful, there might be people watching us right now. Naruto looked around and saw as he saw a straw sticking up from the ground. Someone's spying on us. Naruto whispered in Sasuke's ears to show him where he saw this straw-looking thing. Sasuke quickly shot a fire jutsu down the straw, causing the grass ninja to reveal he was. The grass ninja looked excitedly at Sasuke. Time to beat this guy down, Naruto said before the grass ninja made hand signs after biting his thumb, drawing blood. Summoning technique. A snake appeared before Naruto, separating him from his two teammates as he made a familiar hand sign. Shadow clone technique. 10 Narutos appeared and made a hand sign. Wind release. Vacuum sphere. The Naruto clones quickly decimated the summon as he now couldn't find his teammates. Damn it, where are they? Naruto thought as he rushed as quickly as the wind, he controlled to their location with the grass ninja. Triple X. It looks like someone lost their way. A genin with spiky black hair and ocean blue eyes said as he looked down at the speeding Naruto and pulled out his two katanas. His Awagakure headband hung on his neck as his feet moved out, and he sliced at Naruto, but he just sliced through the wind. This ability, the genin thought as he grinned at whom he had found. This control of the wind element chakra is excellent. He must be from the Namikaze clan like that damned fourth Hokage that made us lose the war. The genin looked at the surprised Naruto before making a hand sign. Body flicker technique. Naruto was surprised when the genin vanished and appeared in front of him, stabbing him in the stomach as the ninja looked into Naruto's cerulean eyes, and he slashed at the boy, crimson life flowing out of the Namikaze/Uzumaki. The ninja then sheathed his blades and looked fiercely at the son of the one he hated most in the ninja world as he began to make hand signs, and then completed the series of hand signs, eager for the finale. Earth release, eternal coffin. The boy watched with a deadly grin and began to laugh manically as mud and dirt began to bury Naruto into the soil. The boy had erased one of the last Namikaze, one of the members of a clan that killed his father and destroyed some of his village's pride. He began to walk away until he felt something surfacing and crimson streams of chakra whipped up to the surface of the earth, crashing through the earth's skin. A hand with enlarged fingernails that were sharp rose as the genin heard a growl and looked to see Naruto with his blonde hair fierce and untamed and his eyes crimson and fierce as a fox's. The genin was shocked and scowled at his opponent. Just who is this guy? The genin got into stance as Naruto roared and rushed forward to the boy. The genin barely dodged the feral Naruto and continued to go into a taijutsu stance. Let's see what you can do, Namikaze. Naruto and the other genin engaged in a taijutsu bout, punch for punch, kick for kick, and nothing more. The genin quickly sent chakra into his hand to increase the speed and power of his punch as it landed on the masked face of Naruto, cracking the mask into shards. It revealed his darkened whisker marks as he growled at the genin, rushed over, and punched him to the ground. The genin looked up to see a fierce-looking Naruto staring down at him. I have to use substitution. Naruto hit the ninja only for him to see a broken stack of logs, and the genin was behind him, trying to knock him out by his neck, only for Naruto to charge off toward this hissing sound. The genin breathed out as his breath became lost, and he looked in the direction where Naruto went. I wonder what made him leave. I have to go see. The genin rushed in the direction Naruto went, wondering what made the boy suddenly move that way. X. Sasuke was shaking for the first time since he saw Itachi kill the Uchiha clan except him. He looked beside him to see Sakura shaking as well, but tears streamed down her eyes like rivers as the grass nin chuckled. You can no longer move. The grass ninja chuckled as he threw two kunai when Sasuke was moving his kunai toward his knee. Damn it, move. Sasuke thought as he stabbed his knee, his Sharingan blazing, and he picked Sakura up and rushed out of the way of the kunais. Sasuke leaned against a tree, breathing heavily. This person was a monster. He thought as he looked at the grass ninja and pulled out the kunai from his knee, shocking Sakura as he winced. He knew neither he or Sakura or Naruto could take this monster on. No, not even them as a team could beat this monster before them. He had to get them out of there. They could die. Die? Sasuke was panicking so much he didn't see the snake that Sakura had saw sneaking on them. Sasuke. Snake. Sakura cried out as the snake tried to eat them only for Sasuke and Sakura to rush away from where they hid. Sakura landed on the forest floor while Sasuke was cursing himself for not seeing the snake in the air as the snake rushed at him. Sasuke looked at the snake only to see the creepy grass ninja as he freaked out. No, stay away. Sasuke threw shuriken and kunai that cut through the snake's body, and the grass ninja appeared and rushed out toward Sasuke. Sasuke had his eyes widened and started to freak out until a person appeared in front of him and punched the grass ninja back surprisingly. Sakura and Sasuke gasped as the person had spiky blonde hair and whisker marks on his cheeks. Naruto, they both said as Naruto held a feral grin. I guess I have to be the hero for you guys, Naruto said, still grinning as he looked down at the grass ninja. This is the end for you, you snake bastard. X. The genin finally caught up to Naruto and saw a creepy-looking grass ninja he noticed earlier before the second test started. The genin watched Naruto have a fierce taijutsu battle with the grass shinobi. Eventually, the grass shinobi summoned a huge snake to strike Naruto, who stopped it with his kunais. This caused the grass ninja to look a little surprised, and he used his very long tongue to grab Naruto as he saw the mysterious shinobi's fingers glow. He was about to hit Naruto when someone had come from behind while he was distracted and punched him to the ground with extreme strength. X. Sakura watched Naruto, putting his life on the line for her and Sasuke, calling Sasuke a scaredy cat for not doing anything while Naruto was trying to beat the crap out of this snake team as Naruto called the grass ninja. As the grass shinobi grabbed Naruto and Sakura saw Sasuke shaking, she yelled at him about what was happening and how Naruto was risking his life for them. No replies from Sasuke told Sakura that she had to go into action to get it through the Uchiha's brain. She ran up the tree that the grass nin was in and snuck behind, charging chakra into her palm, making sure she would still have some left. Right as the snake ninja was about to strike Naruto, Sakura smacked him down with a highly powered fist. The grass ninja found a tree to grab onto as he fell, cursing at underestimating the teammates of his prey. He journeyed up and made a hand sign as his neck launched from his body, fangs drawled out to strike. Naruto rushed, but found out he was too late as Sasuke's shrieks could be heard throughout the forest of death. Naruto, no longer having any influence from Kyuubi whatsoever, rushed behind the grass ninja and used wind release. Great breakthrough to push the snake man away, hurting the older shinobi a little. I'm Orochimaru of the Sannin. The grass nin chuckled as he looked at the team and pulled out the scroll that Sasuke previously held in his pouch. There will be a time when you call out for my power. Come to me then, Sasuke, and then your dream will become reality. Sasuke passed out after this from the pain of the mark as Sakura comforted his passed-out body, and Naruto charged at Orochimaru using the wind, shocking the Sannin before he chuckled darkly and scowled at the boy that gave him trouble today. You are your father's son, Naruto. The Hibi Sannin then disappeared, leaving a crying Sakura, a passed-out, in pain Sasuke, and a worse for wear Naruto. The Genin decided to meet with his team and see about all that had happened, including seeing a Namikaze shinobi. The Genin looked back at their situation as they went to an open place in the forest, and Naruto and Sasuke rested, hidden in the tree, while Sakura guarded them and planted traps on the open field. The Genin looked at the fallen team before going on his own to meet up with his team, who were probably wondering what was taking him so long. He looked back one last time at the fallen team of shinobi before going off on his own. As that Genin left, the Sound Ninja looked at Sakura and the two shinobi behind her. Dosu chuckled before looking at the pink-haired Kunoichi. Let's do our mission now. Chapter 11. The sound ringing through the forest, the beginning of the clash. Mitarashi Anko was rushing through the forest of death, finding the bodies of the grass ninja outside the forest gate. With the one she was most suspicious of having their face gone was the one who gave her kunai back. She scowled as she ran, knowing that this Genin was really Orochimaru. It's time that I finish him off, Anko thought as she landed on a tree branch with Orochimaru behind her. Right, Orochimaru? Impossible, the Hibi Sennin said as he unleashed his tongue at his former disciple, and Anko saw that it had wrapped around her arm. She grew a serious expression as she looked at Orochimaru. Hidden Shadow Snake Hands. Snake struck at Orochimaru's tongue. As Anko pushed him from the tree he was merged into and bashed him into a branch on the tree she was on. Orochimaru go up and rushed at her, roughly pushing her into a tree. Anko winced before whipping around Orochimaru, holding Orochimaru's hand against the tree and stabbed both of their hands into the tree with a kunai. She made a hand sign combined with Orochimaru's hand, and he looked shocked. You're not, Orochimaru said with wide eyes. We'll die together, Anko said smiling as she looked confidently in her former teacher's eyes. Twin snakes mutual death technique. Sorry, but neither of us will die today, Anko-chan. A familiar chuckle flooded Anko's ears as she turned her head furiously at the maker of the sound, Orochimaru the Great Snake. That is but a shadow clone. It vanished out of existence, shocking Anko and making her eyes widen in fear, but then they gained their fury. Why are you here? To assassinate the Hokage? Anko said furiously as Orochimaru removed the face of the dead grass ninja, showing his sinister face. I was merely giving a parting gift to a Genin here in the Chunin exams, like the one I gave to you. Anko's eyes widened in realization of why he was here and what he did, while Orochimaru chuckled madly. He is an elite, an Uchiha. A beautiful body he has, perfect body for me. The boy will most likely die. He has almost no chance to live, Anko said to Orochimaru. Or he could live like you did, Anko, Orochimaru said as he vanished from Anko's sight. Don't spoil my fun, or the village of Konohagakure will be nothing more than rubble and corpses. Orochimaru's light chuckle was all Anko heard before rushing to the Hokage, going to tell him what was happening. Orochimaru was here. Triple X. Goddamn, where is Kasuke at? A female voice yelled out into the forest, causing birds to fly from their homes into the sky overhead. He only said he wanted to check out some Konohagakure crowd and hunt for a scroll. He's probably lost, that baka. Well, it's nice to hear you care about me so, Hikari, the revealed Kasuke said with mock hurt and fake streaming tears, having a head of spiky black hair and cerulean eyes. His dual blades were in their sheaths, clothed after revealing themselves to the Namikaze he faced. And I found out some good information on one of the Konohagakure ninjas, and I was going to share too. Just tell me, you irritating baka. She yelled again, her long blonde hair whipping around her like it was a whip that she held, angrily lashing at the wind. Should I? Kisuke asked himself, turning his head in thought, finger on his chin. You did insult me when I was just trying to help and see what kind of people were on the other teams. Just tell her, Kisuke. A boy with thin-framed, black glasses and slicked-back spiky black hair appeared before the two, hands in his pockets and his coal eyes staring at Kisuke's intensely. She won't stop nagging you until you do. Plus, I'm curious of what you saw that made you want to go on and see the competition. It seemed like there was only one that mainly caught your eyes. You always were observant. Washimura. Kisuke grinned at his teammate before changing into a serious face. I found a member of one of the Konoha rookie teams that has a Namikaze in it. This got both of them to gape at their teammate. I thought that the fourth was the only one left alive of that clan. Hikari said, her silver-gray eyes widening in shock. It seems that the fourth could have had a son or a daughter before he died at the hands of the nine-tailed fox. He could have also sealed the Kyuubi inside the boy like how Rashi and Han hold the four tails and five tails inside of them. Washimura said, causing Kisuke's eyes to widen in realization. That makes complete sense. That Namikaze might be Konohagakure's Jinchuriki, the container of the Kyuubi, and the son of the Yondaime Hokage. Kisuke said, though inside his thoughts he knew because he saw the boy have the clever eyes of a kitsune when he started to transform. We'll keep an eye on him later, Hikari said as she looked at her teammates. Let's get to the tower. Washimura got the earth scroll that we needed. He can watch the boy over when we do the third exam if they pass. It seems his team has that arrogant-looking Uchiha and that pink-haired civilian. I don't know their skill sets or the Jinchurikis, but they seem like a team that butts heads often. You go on to the tower, Kisuke said, racing into the direction of Team 7. I want to see something before I meet you at the tower. I'll be there, so don't worry about me dying. I won't worry even if you die, baka. Hikari yelled at his retreating form. So get back here. Let him go, Hikari, Washimura said softly to her. Actually, I want to see this team that has interested our teammate as well. Let's go with him. It'll be better to be together anyway. Washimura raced to Kisuke's location as Hikari sighed and followed. I have a team of bakas. XXX. Rock Lee was on a youthful walk as he and Guy, his sensei, would call it. That meant a furious rush through the woods at speeds that would make a certain blue, video game hedgehog look like he was in slow motion when he blurred across the screen. Lee stopped at a branch, wondering where other teams could be after he, Tintin, and Niji gathered supplies for the exam to hold them together. He suddenly found a dashing squirrel with a blazing paper bomb attached to its tiny back. Lee lunged from the tree and grabbed the squirrel quickly as he tore the paper bomb from its small furry body and crushed it up in his hand before throwing it on the ground. How unyouthful of someone putting a paper bomb on this youthful squirrel, Lee said, looking at the crying rodent that looked deeply into Lee's round eyes. The squirrel went onto Lee's shoulder and Lee smiled at it. All right, you can hitch a ride for now. Lee's eyes blazed with determination. Let's go. Let's say the squirrel had to hand on for its dear life. XXX. Hyuga Niji looked slightly at the bush and smirked arrogantly. These rookies are pathetic, not even worth my time. They try to hide, but do they even know about the Hyugas Byakugan? I could easily see them with that, even if they were hiding fairly well. So pathetic. Come out of there. Damn it, this is troublesome. We got caught by the wrong guy. Shiakmaru sighed in annoyance. Well, Ino, what are we going to do? Choji asked, sweating in fear. It looks like we'll have to do Plan B, Ino said as Shikamaru sighed again. Fine, Shikamaru said as they rose from the bush they were hiding from their brilliant plan ready to go into action. Oh, I didn't think we would get to see last year's #1 rookie, Hyuga Niji-sama here, Ino exclaimed. Can I get your autograph, Niji-sama? Shikamaru exclaimed while on the inside. He was shaking in nausea at what he had to say. This is humiliating. Niji had a deadpan expression on his face. Oh, you guys. Ino smirked at her plan. Time to pull out all the stops. She undid her ponytail, looked sexily at Niji while the background somehow changed to a dazzling white with sparkles around the young Kunoichi. I've always wanted to get to know you better. Niji turned away. Get lost. What? Why did my sexiness not work? This plan was foolproof, damn it. Foolproof, I say. The Yamanaka thought, shaking her fist in anger. So do you want to fight? Is that why you are shaking your fist in my direction? Niji asked, not even turning. No, not at all. Ino said, laughing. Does he have eyes in the back of his head or something? Then get lost. Niji said, looking back at them. Yes, sir, they said, rushing into the bushes. Niji's sweat dropped at their display. They're like cockroaches. He then went on his way. XXX. Sakura was worn out, staying up for hours in order to keep Naruto and Sasuke safe. That squirrel earlier almost triggered her trap that she had set in case a group of ninja came. She then heard chuckling and a voice saying, "Up all night?" causing her to turn to the ninja to see the Odo ninja staring at her. It's no longer necessary to keep Sasuke asleep. We wish to fight him. Dosu spoke as Sakura quickly pulled out a kunai. I know someone named Orochimaru is pulling the strings around here. I want to know why he gave that weird mark to Sasuke-kun. What does he want? Why do you want to fight when you guys did this to him? Tell me now. Sakura yelled at them, causing them all to have widened eyes and step back a little. I wonder what he is planning. That Orochimaru, Dosu said to himself, causing Sakura to look at him, puzzled. Hearing all that, it just makes me want to kill this girl and that Sasuke guy too. We can't let you go, Zaka said, staring at Sakura fiercely with an evil grin. Wait, Zaku, Dosu said to cause Zaku to stare at their leader angrily. What? You're not very good, girl, Dosu said as he approached the grass the squirrel was going to step over. There's grass where it usually doesn't grow. Your booby trap is a failure. Sakura looked surprised, which caused Dosu to grin in confidence. This girl is of no use to us. Kill her. They charged in as Sakura had a hidden grin and swiped a string held down a hidden kunai behind her side, revealing a giant log before the trio, shocking them. Very smart, but you still are useless. Dosu made a hand sign and put his other hand on the log. Sound waves tore through the log, causing a huge hole in it that the sound shinobi went through. You have no talent whatsoever. You have to work harder than most shinobi. A weakling like you should never mess with shinobi like us at all. Sakura had tears starting to form in her eyes. I am weak after all. Tree leaf whirlwind. Lee appeared, knocking the 3 Odo ninja out of the way of Sakura, surprising all who were there and up. Lee went in front of Sakura. Then, you guys have to work harder as well. Who might you be? Dosu asked, staring at the odd shinobi before him. Konoha's beautiful green wild beast, Rock Lee, Lee said, staring fiercely at Dosu as he lowered his hand and let the squirrel go. Why are you here? Sakura asked Lee. I'll always be here when you're in danger, Sakura-chan. I said that. I'm like the hero that arrives at the last minute. When Lee said this, he heard a chuckle from inside the tree, surprising both Sakura and Lee. You just had to steal my line, centipede brows. The one who said this stepped into the open and caused Sakura to gasp. Naruto, Sakura exclaimed as Naruto looked at the tired Sakura and frowned. Sakura caught this. What is it, Naruto? Thank you for protecting me and Sasuke while we were out, Sakura-chan, Naruto said, adopting a look of thanks and concern for her. No problem, Naruto, Sakura said with a worn smile as Naruto looked at Lee and smiled. So, you're here on our side now, centipede brows. Naruto grinned in infectious joy as Lee smiled back. Yeah, Naruto-kun, I'm here to help you defend Sakura-chan and even Sasuke, Lee said, holding a thumbs up. Then, let's get started, Naruto said, grinning at Lee before looking at the sound shinobi with the fierce eyes of his father. Time to go wild. Chapter 12. The beginning of the end. The curse and bloodline awaken. Zaku smirked as Lee and Naruto charged into the battle. Let me handle, Blondie, Dosu. You can handle weirdo right there. Dosu knew he meant Rock Lee. That means useless is left to you, Kin. Kin sighed. I would get her. She ran fast towards Sakura, only for Lee to see this. Tree leaf hurricane. The kick landed right on Kin's cheek, causing her to fly back into a tree. I won't let you harm Sakura-chan. Naruto looked slightly to see the grinning Dosu approaching Lee, fist coiled back. Naruto's eyes widened as he yelled, "Lee, dodge." Lee quickly got back to paying attention as he dodged before the punch was thrown and coiled his own fist back to land a fast punch on the sound ninja. Dosu dodged the punch and was about to strike when Lee put his fist on the ground and shoved up a giant part of a tree trunk. This shocked everyone there at how strong Rock Lee was. I know there's some trick to your attacks. I know that I can't simply dodge as I did just earlier all the time, or you'll hit me with that jutsu you used on the person wearing glasses. Lee said, rocks scattering around him from the force he used to pull the structure from the ground. At least I have Naruto to help me out of trouble if things get very ugly. After all, there's still 3 of them and 2 of us, excluding Sakura-chan, who looks worse than anybody here besides Sasuke. I might have to get serious here, Lee said, staring fiercely at the Odo ninja, seeing Naruto charge into action. Triple X. Arg. We can't find any weaklings at all, yelled a frustrated Ino as Shikamaru sighed, irritated by his female, devil-like teammate. I told you already, the only team that we could probably be weaker than us is Naruto's team, Shikamaru said as Ino glared at him fiercely in pure anger. Baka, Forehead Girl and Naruto are losers, but Sasuke's a genius, Ino yelled at Shikamaru. There's no way Sasuke could lose. Choji looked shocked at what he saw. Sasuke's out cold. This caused Ino to glare at him. And Sakura is fighting. This made Ino say a not very intelligent, huh, as Shikamaru sighed at his teammate. She's always so troublesome, Shikamaru thought as he looked at the sky, wanting to just see the clouds roll by. He sighed again. I probably won't be able to relax until after the exam is over. More troublesome things. Triple X. Niji-kun. Lee isn't here. He must have had trouble getting here. You know he's always on time no matter what, Tintin said to her teammate. She gasped as she thought, could he have encountered some enemies? Niji smiled, trying to make Tintin feel more relaxed. That's unlikely. Either way, we'll go search for Lee. Tintin nodded. Yeah. The duo raced into the branches of the tree, searching for their teammate. Triple X. Sorry, Guy-sensei. It seems that it has come the time to use that. He looked at Dosu, unraveling the wrappings around his arms a little. I am protecting someone precious to me. Lee raced with speed so unknown that Dosu was frozen in shock as the boy kicked Dosu up into the air and appeared behind Dosu. He stared to wrap his bandages around the sound genin in a fast pace before he wrapped his arms around him, sending them both headfirst into the hard ground. Zaku cursed as he dodged Naruto's punch and started making hand signs. Shit, he can't protect himself at all like that. Take this. Front Lotus, Lee thought as he and Dosu collided with the hard ground, dust appearing after their collision. Zaku smiled. Looks like I made it in time. Lee looked confused as he raced back to guard Sakura. Naruto took the time to make a few hand signs and blow in air. Wind release, vacuum sphere. He let the blasts of air loose only for Zaku to pull out both of his hands and smirk as strong slices of wind hit the blasts Naruto made, canceling them out. Lee was shocked when Dosu rose out of the pile of dirt Zaku made. That was a terrifying technique. Still did quite a bit of damage considering I landed on a soft sponge of dirt. He looked at Lee, raising his arm with the metal amplifier on it. My turn now. He rushed at the weakened Lee, who couldn't move as Naruto saw this. Yet he was still exhausted from the battle with Orochimaru. Lee dodged the technique because he had no choice as he would have had the fist collide on its own if he hadn't dodged it. Lee was shocked when he felt disoriented, not being able to see Dosu clearly, merely seeing a smudge-like being in the shape of Dosu. My techniques will show you that even if your moves are at high speed, mine are at the speed of sound. I'll show you the wall you can't pass with just hard work. Lee was shaking, throwing out bile from his mouth, his ear bleeding, causing Sakura to yell his name in concern. Naruto rushed out to Lee, only to be stopped by Kin and Zaku. We won't let you interfere, loser, Zaku said with a smirk. You can't dodge my techniques at all, Dosu said with a twisted smile. What did? Sakura said in thought, trying to figure out what he did to Lee. It's sound. Even if you dodge my fist, Sound will hit you for sure. Sakura's eyes widened in realization. You use sound vibrations and chakra to target Lee's ear to disrupt his sense of balance. Correct, Dosu said as Zaku smirked. Taijutsu is useless against us, even your high-powered techniques. I can control air pressure to do things you can only dream of since you seem to only use exceedingly powerful taijutsu. Zaku smirked while Lee shook in anger, frustration, and from the sound wave effects. Now, your turn, Dosu said, racing to Sakura. Damn it, move. Damn it, Lee thought, forcing his body to move in front of Sakura, shocking everyone. Hey, where did that blonde brat go? Zaku yelled as his eyes widened at the serious-looking Naruto approaching Dosu, wind whipping fiercely around his fist. Dosu just hit Lee, causing the ninja to scream and fall into unconsciousness as Naruto was right behind him. Say goodnight, you filthy son of a bitch, Naruto yelled out, his teeth forming a dam, causing a very surprised Dosu to turn and be hit down to the ground with Naruto's fist of wind. Naruto pounded the ground in defeat at what he saw when the smoke cleared around him. A bunch of shredded and torn tree stumps. Damn it, he used substitution on me. I wasn't focused at all. He saw Sakura in front of him, eyes wide at seeing Dosu, angrily approaching Naruto from behind. Naruto, she shrieked before deciding on something as she thought. I have to show them I am strong. I can't rely on Sasuke-kun, Naruto, or even Lee. I have to show them I can stand on my own feet. I can be strong. I will be strong. I am strong. Shinaro. She channeled all of her chakra into her right fist, glaring fiercely at Dosu. She also sent chakra to her feet to increase her speed, rushing past Naruto and landing the hurtful punch right into Dosu's bandaged face. Dosu was knocked back toward Kin and Zaku, shocking everyone there, as they all stared in disbelief at the smirking, huffing kunoichi with long, pink hair and determined, yet weakening emerald eyes, her fist in a stance of victory. Shinaro, bastard, she said, softly in a tone that meant she knew she did good for once. She fell into unknown arms as she felt a presence that made her shiver. It was the darkest feeling she felt since Zabuza, since that Orochimaru. She looked up, thinking she would see Sasuke, seeing his cargo shorts, only to gasp at the face she saw on the boy's face. It was a wicked face. It was the face of Orochimaru. She only thought of the demented Sannin when she saw that face, twisted dark marks all over his body, causing her life to fall into the abyss. Sasuke-kun, she said in a weak, hopeful voice, hoping for him to glare at her and tell her he didn't want a date with her and that she was useless to the team. She didn't care what he said, as long as he was Sasuke, the Sasuke she knew. Sakura, a dark voice, said, looking at her with no expression whatsoever. Who did this to you? Sasuke was gone. X. You always act recklessly, Kisuke. Hikari yelled at the boy ahead of her. What's so amazing about this Namikaze guy? Washimura sighed as he was in the middle of his teammates. I better summon an eagle to scout ahead. He bit his finger and went through the series of hand signs that were needed before he put his hand on a branch as an eagle screeched when it was summoned. Go ahead, Washima, and come back when you see something. Very well, Washimura. The eagle spoke as it flew ahead of him and his teammates. Washimura picked up pace as he was falling behind. He looked to see that Kisuke was going even faster than before, and he sighed in reply. Don't get too worked up, Kisuke. You won't be able to fight like that. He heard his eagle caw as it approached and told him about the many ninjas up ahead. This may get really dirty, really fast. Kisuke approached the area he knew the Namikaze was at as he pulled out a kunai and stared fiercely at a group of ninjas before silently flying down to the ground and putting the kunai to one of their necks. This person screamed before Kisuke had covered their mouth. His teammates were behind him. X. Ino was frightened. First, she was watching Lee and Sakura face down the Odo shinobi, and Naruto had just came out only to have an unknown shinobi grab her from behind and put a kunai to her neck. Her other teammates stared in shock only for Shikamaru to smirk in success. Shadow imitation technique. Success, Shikamaru said, freezing the unknown shinobi, his teammates watching carefully at the Nara. Shadow imitation? Eh. The unknown shinobi said as he looked at Shikamaru with piercing blue eyes. You guys must be the Ino Shikicho Trio's kids since you look a lot like they did in the textbook we had at the academy. Shikamaru's eyes widened. Darn it, they know our techniques. They could easily defeat us right now. I have to come out with a plan quickly. I wish you shinobi no harm, and neither do my teammates. The unknown shinobi spoke in honesty. I'll even tell you my name and my teammates if you tell me yours and your teammates. Shikamaru looked at the shinobi that wore all black and still held Ino. His eyes shone with honesty, just like his voice spoke full of it. Shikamaru sighed at this troublesome situation. Fine, just release our teammate for us. That will be a problem since I just don't want to release her. The shinobi spoke seriously, shocking everyone. After all, she has the beauty of an angel, and I can't help but want to keep her in my arms. This was where everyone face faulted to the ground as the shinobi released the blushing Ino, who stood in shock at the shinobi, forgetting about Sasuke and Sakura for a moment. What is your name, Haim? The shinobi said, waggling his eyebrow, causing Ino to giggle and his female teammate to get a tick mark. Yamanaka Ino, yours? The blonde girl he once held asked as the shinobi stared at her with mesmerizing blue eyes. Bushido Kisuk, the shinobi said, his spiky hair flowing a little in the air. Nara Shikamaru, sighed the Nara, hand behind his head. Washimura, the shinobi with glasses and a cloak of black said, I have no last name to speak of. Akamichi Choji, Choji said, munching on the little chips he had left. Utsukishi Hikari, a kunoichi wearing a short skirt and a short-sleeved black shirt, said as her long hair flowed from side to side, her silver-gray eyes mesmerizing everyone there. Now, what's going on here? Kisuk said as he saw them battle. We'll take care of the sound ninja. He tossed Team 10 a scroll that they had. You can have this scroll. I found it on the way here so you can keep it. We don't need it since we already got our 2. Now go. This is troublesome, but thanks. Shikamaru said as he and his teammates raced toward the tower, luckily holding the scroll they needed. Now, this is interesting, Washimura said, looking at the risen Sasuke, marks surrounding his body. Let's see what happens next, shall we? Let's, Hikari said, looking at the battle about to be finished. Triple X. Niji stood about to say something, when Sasuke stood, an evil aura about him. I'll let the Uchiha and his teammates settle this match between them and the Sound Ninja. He looked down at the passed-out Lee. Then we'll grab Lee. Tintin looked down at the field of battle, silently taking everything in. Lee. Triple X. Power. I can feel it inside me. Darkness. I can feel it around me. I was weak. Now I am strong. Black. Where I will go. Snake. He gave me this gift, this power. Mark. This mark is granting my wishes. Power. It is mine now. Mine now. Kill. I can kill him now. Nissan. I can kill Itachi now. I can kill Itachi with this power. Kill. I will kill Itachi. I will conquer him, destroy him for what he did to me. He deserves it. Power. I have power. Sasuke was awoken, marks and smoke surrounding his body like a cloak. His eyes were piercing black holes that tore through anyone he stared at. He set Sakura down and looked at Naruto, smirking at Naruto's shocked look. Dope. Naruto shook to reality, hearing Sasuke's voice. But is this really Sasuke? Naruto shook before staring at his rival, forming a fake smile. Hey team, you up? Sasuke smirked evilly. Yes, dope, I am. He raised his hands to look at them, still smirking at the power he felt inside his shell, his body. He gave it to me. This confused Sakura and Naruto. I am an avenger. Even if I must eat the devil's fruit, I must go down this path to gain power. He looked at Zaku and the other sound shinobi. You said you did this to her? Zaku smirked, answering Sasuke's question as he fiercely looked at the Odo ninja, his marks spreading like a fungus on his body, evil black markings covering his body. Dosu shook at the power Sasuke was sending out as Naruto was shocked at Sasuke, huffing out breath since he was running out of chakra. No need to get scared, Dosu. Zaku grinned as he held his hands together and sent his palms out toward Sasuke, causing Dosu to shake even more and his eyes to widen. No, Zaku. Dosu yelled only for Zaku to smirk and laugh as a gigantic blast of air went to Sasuke and his teammates. Extreme decapitating airwaves. Dust and rubble filled the air, causing Kin and Dosu to duck from the attack. Zaku smirked even more when he saw no one there, only to see one genin with wind coating his fist. Take this, Naruto yelled, almost his entire chakra supply put into his fist as it hit Zaku, blasting him away when Sasuke caught him with a vicious glare and creepy smile. You thought you had me? Sasuke punched the sound ninja back, spit landing out of his mouth, as he was pushed back toward Kin and Dosu. Sasuke made hand signs and blew out many things of fire. Fire release, Phoenix Sage fire technique. Zaku smirked, blowing the fire out as he got up with his air blasts, only to be assaulted by a volley of shuriken throwing stars. Sasuke zoomed in toward Zaku, causing Dosu to yell out, "Zaku below." Zaku was surprised when Sasuke gripped his arms from behind, tugging them roughly, causing him to cry out in pain. A wicked grin appeared on Sasuke's twisted face. No, it was Orochimaru's face. That's what Sakura thought. This isn't Sasuke. This can't be Sasuke. No, 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 no. Naruto pulled up from the ground, wounded and weak, not able to make it in time to stop Sasuke. Damn it, Sasuke. This isn't you. Sasuke ignored his teammate, grinning like an evil villain. Let's see how you feel when your precious arms you use so much are torn from your body. I'll show you my power. Sasuke-kun. Stop. Sakura ran, which caused Naruto to widen his eyes, fearing Sasuke might lash at Sakura on accident. Damn it. I'm so useless. Naruto cried out, getting almost everyone's attention, his hand outstretched like he wanted to get to the finish line. Why now? Why now? Let me show everyone how strong I can be. Let me stop Sasuke. Let me stop my friend. Naruto heard a vicious pop, a scream, and then his own scream of "damn it, let me show them my strength." His cry was rewarded as chakra chains appeared out of his fingers, winding around Sasuke and tearing him away from Zaku. Sasuke glared with pure intensity at his teammate. Naruto, you dumbass, let me finish these bags of trash. Then, he felt familiar arms around him, the chains fading from him. Sasuke, this isn't you, Sakura said, crying into Sasuke's back. Stop it. Just stop. Sasuke looked at her as Naruto fell like Zaku, smiling sadly at his attempt to help his teammate and confused about why he had sprouted chains from his fingers. His eyes closed, smiling still as he saw Sasuke's marks recede and he and Sakura fall onto the ground. Sasuke, we cannot defeat you, Dosu said, pulling out his scroll and pushing it towards Sasuke and Sakura. Take this as a gift. He grabbed Zaku and went by Kin. For now, we will go, but next time, we will face you head on. We won't run. Wait, Sakura yelled out, Dosu turning his head to look at her. Why was this done to Sasuke-kun by Orochimaru? What does he want with Sasuke-kun? I don't know, Dosu said, turning away. We were merely told to kill him. What are you planning, Orochimaru? Dosu went on his way as Neji dropped down from the tree branch to look at them and approached Lee with Tenten. Tenten approached Sakura and Sasuke and grabbed Lee as she started to shake him uncontrollably. Lee, snap out of it, she yelled as Lee awoke, causing Sakura and Sasuke to sweat drop at what was happening. Tenten, why are you here? Where are those sound ninja? Lee asked, looking around. We came here to save you. Why did you have to do something reckless? Tenten scolded her teammate as he got up and looked as Sakura and Sasuke approached him. Lee, I want to thank you for your help. Thanks to you, I was somehow able to awaken and find a way to get stronger. Lee had tears in his eyes and Naruto started to awaken again, still not strong enough to move very much as he listened to the words spoken. It was not me that did in the sound ninjas. They beat me to a pulp. Sasuke was the one to stop them apparently from what I heard. The Uchiha clan must be strong. Sasuke was shocked. How strong were those sound ninja? Sakura. Sakura looked at Lee, who smiled at her. The lotus blooms twice. The next time you see me, I will be a stronger man. I swear. Yeah. Sakura smiled at him. Tenten looked at Lee and then Sakura as she sighed and went to Neji. We better get going, Lee. Niji is waiting for us over there, Tintin said, walking to Niji as Lee nodded. Right, Tintin. He said his goodbyes to Sasuke and Sakura and turned to walk only to spot a weak Naruto, trying to rise from the ground, teeth clenched, only to fall onto the ground again, ignored by everyone around like he was a worthless bug. Lee smiled sadly, seeing him in Naruto's place. Come on, Lee. I'm coming, Tintin. He took one more glance at Naruto before going toward Tintin and Niji and taking off. Triple X. You guys go to the tower with our 2 scrolls and wait for me. I'll be there when I'm done. I want to talk to this Namikaze, Kasuke said, looking deeply at Naruto. All right, Hikari said as she and Washimura agreed and took off. Kasuke got out of the bushes, unknown to Sasuke and Sakura, who returned talking to each other, when Kasuke grabbed Naruto and pulled him up from the ground and covered his mouth from speaking. I won't harm you or your teammates, Namikaze. I only wish to speak to you and not your teammates Sakura and this Uchiha Sasuke. Naruto nodded as Kasuke released his grip, only to see a rushing Sakura and Sasuke, ready to hit him. He sighed and yelled, I'm only here to talk to the blonde. Sasuke and Sakura stopped to look at Kasuke as he talked to Naruto. How are you the son of the 4th? This caused Naruto's eyes to turn into the likeness of Minato Namikaze. Kasuke looked at him. I see now. This caused Naruto to look confused. Your eyes hold your father and yourself. Sometimes, you seem like what I think the 4th is, a serious shinobi. I never saw the 4th Hokage. I only heard stories from the Kage in my village. Then, how do you know my father? Naruto asked, only to see that Kasuke's eyes turned into black holes of sadness and emptiness, like his own. Your father killed my clan.